What is going on, y'all? Okay, so let me check audio levels and everything. You guys let me know if you can hear me. I want to make sure everything is good on our first stream here. So awesome to see y'all back again. If you can't tell what's going on, I'll take that hey as a sign that I can be heard, which is great. Want to make sure again that everything is in a good place. Let me know if you can hear the clicking from inside the game. But perfect, that's great to hear. So, as you guys can probably tell, I took a little bit to between the end of the season and the Super Bowl to kind of take a break and refresh myself. Because I'll tell you what, the end of this last Bears season it was not the end that we wanted in almost any capacity. We didn't tank, we didn't necessarily blow up in terms of we didn't do well in the playoffs, and instead we sort of just petered out. It's funny you asked, Slim Jim. I've been streaming for like maybe a year. This is probably stream number 20 total. It's my second streaming a game of any kind. But either way, I just wanted to let y'all know. In terms of how this will be working, one thing that I'm really excited about is not only will we get to hang out and talk about football on times like this, chances are, to be completely candid, you'll see more than just Madden on my Twitch channel, and my Twitch channel will probably go live a little bit more often than my YouTube channel will, just because I'll keep YouTube for football, but Twitch will probably be just about anything that I'm doing. Either way, we'll take a look at when the game comes back on. But Slim Jim, I'm playing with a PS4 controller, though I am on PC. So we are going to be trying, like somebody said, we're going to be trying to rebuild the Bears as best as we possibly can. Let me make sure that the game capture is working correctly. We had it, and then we lost it as I tried to promote the alert box. Because streaming, I'll tell you what, is streaming is it's something that I'm figuring out ever so slowly. But we will let me take a look. There we go. Perfect. We've got everything seeming to be working. And one thing that you guys are gonna see that I think will be funny is as we go through this, you're gonna notice that I can play Madden decently. Like, you know what? I'll just go ahead and open what I spent without a doubt the most time on as we kind of get ourselves settled here. And Case, I took your advice. I turned all the music down, so we're not getting DMCA'd today, which is great. And one thing that, if you noticed, that had happened to me between the end of last season and now is at one point I dove in and I created as close as possible to the best Bears team I could. So we've got Jimbo Covert, James Daniels, and Jason Kelsey. I had him. He worked. The offensive line definitely needs a little more Bearsing. But we've got a 96 overall David Montgomery. We have legend Devin Hester here as the wide receiver 1 with Allen Robinson as a wonderful wide receiver 2. Zach Ertz, sure, but Jimmy Graham and Barkevius Mingo playing out of position is right there. Yeah, our O-line is a little depressing. And I've got a halfback 2 of a 91 overall Cordero Patterson, which is just fun to have. It's the defense where things really shine with Roquan Smith. I actually pulled in Nick Kwiatkowski because why not? He's a former Bear. Eddie Jackson, Lance Briggs over here, a flashback Adrian Amos to years ago. I got Tommy Harris off of the Legends thing. I didn't have to pay any money for this. This is an NMS team, a no money spent team. But between Ambi Okoye, who was a defensive tackle, apparently I needed him for chemistry. A 96 overall Akeem Hicks, Jalen Johnson, Julius Peppers from years back, and Kyle Fuller. It's a team that's coming along better than I anticipated it would, that's for sure. Of course, the specialists are Bears, and Devin Hester's an absolute animal in terms of the way that this team came out. And Brett Favre has an unbelievable release, which is part of the reason that I used him, especially when I was was grinding out Madden challenges. But either way, this is most of my Madden experience is playing it in Ultimate Team. So I will need y'all's help a little bit as we dive through and create a franchise mode together. But the idea is, in terms of how this stream works, and Slim Jim, I completely understand. You play a little bit of the challenges and you're able to build yourself up, but it takes some time. What my plan is, if y'all are in on it, is that we're going to we're going to go into franchise mode, we're going to skip to where we are, and basically every time we start up, if there's some major change that we didn't emulate on our franchise mode, we might just start over, because we'll rip through the off season probably in like an hour and a half, get a game or two in, because why wouldn't we? It's a Madden stream. We got to play some football here. And then if it's not, or if the Bears end up doing something ridiculous or making a trade, something that we want to emulate, trust me, if we had started this a week ago and we had made a trade for Carson Wentz, because that's what the Bears would do, we're going to reset the franchise to make sure we're not playing with Wentz while somebody else is the quarterback. But either way, let's go ahead and get going with it. Let's create a new league. Let's use the active roster. I feel like that's got to be the case. Oh, that's a cloud league, huh? Let's make sure. Are we trying to do realistic? We're going to make the decisions that we think we need to make, and we'll go from there. But, so let's go with that right here. We'll try to make the best decisions we can. Some being potentially a little aggressive, some being maybe less aggressive, and so on and so forth.
Settings.
So
if
let's
you wish
take
to change roles or adjust options,
what do you mean
use
change
the tiles
roles?
on the left.
See, this is where my inexperience with franchise mode is coming into play. You know what? What do you mean change roles? You know what? I control all aspect if I'm Matt Nagy, so that works for me. Let's see here.
Start your week by installing your game plan.
My wife texted me, gonna shoot her something back. Let's take a look. It'll be interesting, you know? I mean, there's so much. So somebody mentioned ENB trading away Leno. It's funny you say that. Let's take a look at the lineup, or just so we know what we've got to work with, and then we will go from there. Okay, you know, it's hilarious because, of course, the first thing I see is Leno sitting here at around 79, and I think to myself, yeah, it's about right. He's not good. He's not in the 80 region, but he's not terrible. James Daniels, probably a little underrated here at left guard. I'd put him around closer to an 84. Bars, Massey probably playing at about a 78 level, but hey, are we really gonna like kick and scream about a lot of these ratings? It's all over the place. But yeah, in this simulation, Neovaster, we have a whole lot of options. It's just a matter of what we want to do and how realistic we want to try and be. But so let's see. We've got the 2020 season. Is there some way to simulate to where we are, or where we are in 2020? Somebody let me know how I can go ahead and do that, because it looks like it's got us all the way back at the start of the season. And you know what, we'll just advance week, jump ahead, sim 2 Super Bowls, sure. We'll skip all the way to the end. But so then we'll figure out what we can do from there. At this point, just go ahead and start sorting your ideas. Yeah, Shane, I'm going to be trying to be as realistic as possible in all this. I don't think just playing a video game is near as fun as trying to go through and add in as much like detail and realism as possible, but we'll get there as we can. Start the franchise online as a connected franchise. Case, you'll have to tell me what you're meaning there, because it's funny, you say started as a connected franchise, and I'm like, does that mean people playing together? I mean, that could be cool. We could definitely do that another time. But yeah, Derek, that'd be hilarious. So here's the question. I can take this off season in a couple pass, okay? So do you guys want me to tell you or to go through and try to make the Bears win the Super Bowl in 2021? That's option one. Or do you want to try and have me win the Super Bowl down the road, even if that means making some tough decisions here in 2021's offseason? The reason that I throw that out there is because if we wanted to be really aggressive and try to win in 2022, obviously I'm going to keep guys like Kyle Fuller and Akeem Hicks. But if we wanted to try to free up some cap space, I would probably move them for what we can get, push things into the draft. And hey, look, that does not mean that I hate Kyle Fuller and Akeem Hicks. I think Akeem Hicks in particular is a phenomenal player. Kyle Fuller is boom. Like, Kyle Fuller's a great corner, and he's playing, and at very least in this last year, played just about as good as I've ever seen him. That's why when you look at their contracts, Akeem Hicks making $12.5 million next year, and Kyle Fuller making about 18 to 20 million. I look at that and think they're guys that you could get real picks for, and part of me thinks that if you can get a 4th rounder for Kyle Fuller, if you can get a 5th rounder for Akeem Hicks, you'd want to take those to free up cap space in the short term and the long term so that the Bears could try to make a move at quarterback somewhere in terms of the league. Oh boy, we've got a lot of college scouting points. So let's see. Case, I need you. Do I take auto-generated rookies? Do I download from Madden Share? Is there a local file out there for rookies this year? You tell me, and we'll figure that out when we can. It looks like Super Bowl 55 is, of course, the Texans and the 49ers. Why wouldn't it be? But great. Let's download from Madden Share. Slim Jim, I'm going to trust you on this. Okay, so Madden Share, what am I looking at here? Let's go. Oh, cool. We've got what looks like a follower. That is awesome. All right, community files. What do we think this works? Likes, dislikes. Go with, like, highest downloaded here. This one, like the realistic draft class. I think this makes sense. Yeah. The game must be broken in terms of, the game must be broken if the Texans are blowing up. But hey, that's what they're sure, right? Look at this. I love the fact that this guy went through and not only like made all this. Oh boy, it is throwing a lot at us here. So are you saying Ken Burke? Are you saying Sam Darnold? Or a different, or like Sam? Oh gracious, what is his name? The tackle, right? Kyle Pitts is awesome. Obviously, we want to scout, or like, it's funny. Like, who do I want to scout here? That's a good question, because not only am I throwing stuff around in terms of like players, but also I have a bunch of, we can quick scout some of these different players. We can get to the draft here in a little bit. Yeah, the Bears might have tanked. That's a good question. So, what was our record? Let's see. View the playoff bracket. Did we make the playoffs? It looks like the Bears didn't. Obviously, the Chargers made the playoffs. That makes a lot of sense. The Colts beat the Chiefs. This is hilarious to look at. Cowboys. Oh, so close to the Super Bowl. The Lions made the playoffs. So there you go. Video game right over here. As they beat the Buccaneers. They even won a playoff game. But so, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, Slim Jim. I was like, I don't know if I need like a bunch of scouting points per se. But yeah, the Cowboys got a first round bye. Let's see. Free agents. No. That's not going to get me what I want. So we need to go to, at least I want to go and try to figure out how to offer people contracts, because I know that's a thing I can do. So let's go to team. Where in the world does it show you your record? Schedule, maybe? Team schedule. Let's go to the regular season. See what happened in the Madden simulation. Okay, we beat the Lions. We lost to the Giants. We beat the Falcons. We lost to the Colts. We lost to the Buccaneers. Beat the Panthers. Beat the Rams. Beat the Saints. Beat the Titans. Bears so far almost looking better than you'd expect. They beat the Packers. Yay. But yeah, scouting in Madden seems really bland. As we lost to the Lions, beat the Texans, lost to the Vikings, beat the Jaguars, and lost to the Packers. Did not make the playoffs. It actually wasn't that bad a simulation. Sad to see that the Madden Bears did better than the real Bears, but hey, what can you do? 9-7 should put us in roughly the same or a similar position to where we should have done. But yeah, that would have been, or ENB. That's a good question. It would have been funny to see if random YouTuber makes video and season tanks. But so let's take a look at this. Did our players change in terms of like their overall abilities? Because it seems as if the rankings changed. Maybe somebody got hurt. But either way, the first thing that I would do as soon as I'm able to, let's go to next week. I should be able to offer some contracts because I've got some in mind that I would want to throw out there. So perfect. Yeah, we've got some players ready to negotiate. I'll tell you guys right now that if there's a player that... Did it say Patterson as RB1? I'll take a look at that. But so... if there's a player that I think the Bears need, and granted, it's not all because of simple things like, oh gosh, what was it, that article recently that showed Allen Robinson was souring a little bit in terms of his attitude towards getting re-signed with the Bears, but this is definitely a situation where I want to see the Bears re-sign Robinson. Whatever contract the Bears get, whether it's a Mac Jones type, whether they trade up for a Zach Wilson type, whether they trade up, frankly, for like Justin Fields, Trey Lance. I look at somebody like Allen Robinson as the safety blanket, the need that the Bears need somebody like Robinson because he's the guy who basically keeps the quarterback safe from a downfield perspective, and that's somebody that I absolutely want to keep around. Hang on, let me see. I think that might be the better way to, or Derek, I think that's the better way to put it. It's not that he's anti-Bears in any capacity. It's that he just doesn't expect to get the contract he wants, and I'll tell you, I think that's a little bit crazy, but hey, that's just me. The cap hit we're looking at, this may scare you guys, but I'm going to offer Robinson what I think would be roughly a fair deal. So let me kit this out to where it's where I want it to be. They say a fair offer is 71.6 million over 4 years. I don't think that's really fair. Let me see. I'm still playing with the salary, but Slim Jim, we gotta make a Robinson a very fair deal here. So let's see. Signing bonus. You know what? I think that the cap room we could bring this down to maybe 15 million. Yeah, I know. I'm watching the cap hit Case Master as I play with the numbers here. So let's see. Signing bonus. What is the difference between salary and signing bonus? I'm a little lost on how they want to structure this contract here. But yeah, I'm sure. But so at this point, if it was me, I think Allen Robinson warrants a $18.5 million cap hit, maybe a little bit more than that. Like, this is roughly where I would put him because I think Robinson's one of the best receivers in the NFL at this point. And so, is he top 10? I think yes. Is he top 5? I don't know if that necessarily matters because when you're talking about a market value player, this is more of a market value deal. And yeah, that makes sense that or the case that it works in terms of those guarantees. This is the offer I'll make. I know that the cap space gets a little bit tight, but when it comes to keeping one of your best players, these are the sacrifices that you want to make. I'm glad that Allen takes the deal. We've re-signed Allen Robinson. Honestly, we've cashed the number one priority for me that I think the Bears need in terms of this offseason, which is great. So then we're going to take a look at the rest of the players that we've got here. Pat O'Donnell, you know what? We could probably pick up a UDFA punter. We will get to Mitchell Trubisky. Let's see what happens with what goes on throughout the rest of the offseason. I just want to take a look here at what we've got. You know what? Sam Mustipher, I thought he performed surprisingly well. I don't think he needs some massive deal, but chances are I would, let's see, 1.2 million, kind of a depth offer here. I think that works. So at this point, it's just a matter of making the money fit. But yeah, no kidding, new poster. I agree. So, in my opinion, new poster, you said like it's a video game because A-Rob accepted less than 20 million. That's probably true. And if it was a real negotiation at this point with where the Bears are, I'm probably willing to go up to that $20 million number because, like Derek said, cap space is a number to some degree. Sure, it's an indicator of organizational health, but if you don't have Allen Robinson, you have to replace Allen Robinson, which is a disaster because, like we saw with replacing Alshon Jeffrey, no, it was Brandon Marshall with Kevin White, receivers are just not easy to replace, and I completely understand. I've actually seen a lot of Bears fans that talk about how Darnell Mooney is the number one wide receiver heir apparent, and I don't think I think we're getting a little over our skis here. I think Mooney looked very, very good as a wide receiver, but I don't think he's ready to handle number one coverage duties. If we can have somebody else like Robinson bear the load, I think that's going to be ideal. So let's make this offer. Let's see what he thinks. Okay, cool. Glad he re-signed. That's great. So then let's take a look at the rest of this. We will what does it mean Latavius Simmons is in like his last moment? Didn't he just get drafted? Apparently they don't know that. But anyways, so yeah. Anyways, new poster, it is really complicated when you say that, talking about Robinson and his understanding of his value, because obviously he knows he's in a position to where he can ask for a lot, and he's probably warranting it in terms of his market value, and if at the very least he wants to get to that market, you get the impression, but heck, hard to tell. Let's take a look at 2020 retirements. These are always funny. So Bruce Irvin, Donald Penn, Vinatieri gone, Adrian Peterson's done, Phillip Rivers done, Drew Brees. Nothing actually too crazy here with Whitworth, so on and so forth. Edelman's done, Witten's done. Nothing too crazy, at least based on what I can tell. Wonder if there are any Bears. Nothing popping up specifically. Wait a minute. Did that say... I think that said Andy Reid retired. So let me take a look at this real fast just to be sure. See, this is where the stuff in Madden can get kind of funny. Because, Andy Reid and Pete Carroll are done in the league. So, there you go. We have lost Andy Reid. We've lost Pete Carroll. And did you see Larry Fitzgerald? Let's take a look and see. Why not, right? Let's see. Jonathan Joseph. He's got to be a Cardinal. I don't think he moved in the middle of the season. But I don't know. Well, I didn't see his logo, so maybe he did. But, okay, good to see. Y'all know that. But so let's take a look here. Can we... What does it mean, trade? Okay, trade.
You have a player
all right.
healed from injury
so
and
let's...
ready to play.
Oh, okay, good. David Montgomery was hurt. That's why Cordell Patterson was RB1. So let's see. Good to see Montgomery back. We're going to need him in terms of next season. I'm going to tell you guys something crazy in the Bears case. Let's see. Okay, what does Cairo actually want in terms of kicking? I think the Bears could get away with another kicker. It's not that I don't like Cairo Santos. It's that our cap space is in such a bind that I feel like the Bears need to deprioritize kicker a little bit. I don't think they're about a kicker away, but I mean, hey, I completely understand if y'all disagree with that. In terms of player or positions for the Bears to invest money in, I do think that obviously having a poor kicker is a problem, but I think that the Bears could find somebody like an Elliott Fry as a UDFA, should they need to, that can hold water, even if they're not going to be an ultra star, because having a star at kicker on a team that's kind of rebuilding around itself can be a little problematic. That said, I'm going to put on my Ryan Pace hat here and make the decision I think Pace would make. I think Pace makes this decision. We're going to offer him below value, but oh good, I don't have the cap room to make this. So let's see if we can make our offer work for us. But yeah, okay. Cairo's going to test free agency. We don't actually have any cap space. Am I able to cut players at this point? Does anybody know that? Because if I can't cut players, I don't know how to make our cap space any better before week 2 of the offseason. But hey, no, life with them, I completely agree. Like, that's the thing. The kicker did give the Bears the chance to make the playoffs, so I understand keeping Cairo around. But the problem here is that as the Bears move into a position where they just don't have a whole lot of cap space to work with, I don't know if they're going to be able to offer Cairo what I think he'll be worth. But hey, we'll see. My team roster. Following you on this one, Case. All right, so is this where... Slim Jim, I completely understand that, and I take that on in full confidence. So let's see. Let's go to cornerback, because there's a certain cornerback I think we can all agree is about done in a Bears uniform, as we're going to go ahead and release Buster Screen. I think we can all agree there. I'll give you guys a second to chime in. Anybody upset about releasing Screen? All right, going once, going twice. Yeah, he's gone. All right, so we freed $5 million in cap space. I think the next one to go is not hard to see coming, as Jimmy Graham is a great option to release for $7 million. I think he signed a 1-year deal that was always going to get him $3 million extra. Honestly, I don't know why Pace really structured it this way with $3 million in a dead cap, but hey, we need the cap space where we can get it. Jimmy Graham needs to go. So from there, we look at other positions that the Bears can cut fat from. What makes it complicated is that when you look through the options the Bears have, they can't get anything out of releasing somebody like Trevathan. Yeah, no, exactly, Derek. So long. Thanks for all the TDs. Completely agree. There's not a ton of positions the Bears can really get value out of. Wait a minute. They think I can release Kyle Fuller for $14 million? I guess the idea would be that I can trade him, and I'm probably going to, because that cap hit that you can keep is great. Let's take a look through the rest of the positions just so, yeah. Quinn fell pretty hard, to say the least, Case. But I do think depth is what the Bears need to what you're saying, life with them. So let's take a look through here. Trubisky is... We're probably going to have to let Trubisky hit the market. Does that mean that I have to release him now and he still counts as on the... I get it. This is re-signings. So if I basically let the offseason advance one more week, now I understand. Okay, I gotcha. But so... Exactly. He'll just test the market. Chances are, like somebody said, I think that Massey's a good cut too. It's too bad because I don't think that you can cut both tackles. I really don't. I think at this point what we're going to try to do is we're going to see how the draft plays out. And hey, if we get 2 great tackles, I'll probably cut Leno and we'll see what we can find before the season starts. But Massey, I think we can move on from. There's nothing really holding us back in terms of other big fat contracts because the Bears cap situation is a bit of a nightmare, man. They think you can get Charles Leno or like you can get $9 million for Charles Leno. I've never seen that in any situation. So they probably got his contract in there wrong. In this case, technically he's better numerically, so we'll roll with that because this is what I would have done is I wanted June 1st Bobby Massey and then probably keep Leno unless we find somebody that we can replace him with easily. But at this point, let's see, where are you? Where's Akeem Hicks? Anybody, am I missing this? There he is. Okay, so Hicks is right there. We'll see if we can get a trade for him. But yeah, in terms of, agree with the cut, life. I was trying to follow what you were saying. But, it should be exactly like you're saying, Case. 6.5 for Leno. You basically take the same kind of, you take the same penalty as you get in relief. So let's look through here. Let's see, who do we think we need back? I think the trouble with a lot of these guys is that you take a guy like Brent Urban, for instance, and it's saying that a fair offer for Brent Urban, can you guys see this? $10 million over 2 years. That is a lot of money for a backup right end. So it's somebody that, while he's a great and valuable member of the rotation, I just don't think that we can pay up for that. Let's see what happens if Roy Robertson Harris takes a okay, he'll take a small deal. But so Corey, I completely agree. Where we may have to, but we'll take a look and see what we can do. Mario Edwards, if only because I don't think the Bears are coming back for him, given issues with the law. I don't think that we'll re-sign him. Jermaine Ifedi they've got him as a right tackle now, so that's interesting. I don't think depth is ever a problem, so with 12.3 in cap space, we'll probably bring him back. Neo, just for you, I'll go ahead and re-sign to Sean Gibson, especially if he's looking for a smaller amount of money. Let's see, 2.3 with a good bit in guarantees. I think we can bring that down a little bit. If he tests the market, he tests the market. But yeah, okay, so he's gonna go back to there, and then we'll move on. Cordero Patterson is a very good second halfback, or at least I like him. But the question is, how much does he want to take as a running back? It looks like they re-signed Tariq Cohen. I would hope. But let me take a look at this. We want to carry as much cap space as we can, or as we can take with us. So let's take a look there. Cohen is a 76. Oof, that hurts to see. I think he's a little better than that, but that's just me. Like you're saying, Weta, I really don't mind Gibson not re-signing, but either way, let's go ahead and advance week to the next phase of the offseason. Yeah, you can. But so let's go to sign free agents. We've got 12.6 in cap room. So let's take a look at who's out there. We've got Marlon Mack there. What is this? Maurice Williams. Oh, we've got old Rob Gronkowski. Darius Williams. I'm giving you guys a look at this. But so, tell Mel what pick he... Anyways, apologies. So let's go to the trade center. Let's see if we can post some trades. Trade block, upgrade position, manual trade. So let me see who we can offer to. I think the Texans are a decent spot for a guy like Akeem Hicks. I've been thinking about this. It's not that they've got a ton of cap room, but I think that they could find themselves really into the idea of a guy like Akeem Hicks. Don't get me wrong, this is not about to be a trade for Watson. It's not. But I'm going to see if I can feel out a 4th round pick, maybe a 3rd round pick. Let's see what we can get. I don't mind. So let's see. Submit is this one right here. Let's see what they think about that. Trade interest level. They want to see that. See, that's fine. Honestly, I was anticipating that we would probably be trying to scope out a round 4 pick. See, this is getting better and better. I'm probably going to make this trade. Does anybody have an issue with a round 4 for Hicks? We get $10 million in cap space left. And yeah, like you're talking about, that's not Hicks at all. But so... if we can get a 4th round pick, I think that that's a good idea. It gets us $10 million more in cap space, and we can go take a look at that. So as much as I love Akeem Hicks, I'm probably going to see if we can do that. I wanted the round 3 life, but it doesn't look like they'll take. So we will go ahead and submit this. Let's see. Oh, they're not quite ready for that. So let's see if we can. What do we want to do? Do we want to try to upgrade a pick, or do we want to see if we can take maybe like a round 5 and okay, what about this? A slightly lower round 4. I think this works for them. Yeah, that works. Let's looks like they've accepted the trade, so we've just gained a little bit more cap space. Now on to doing something else. Arizona makes a lot of sense too. Let's see what we can get for Kyle Fuller. He's got he's got a $20 million cap hit. Look at that. He's got basically the same functional cap hit as Khalil Mack does, which is exactly why I think it makes sense to trade him, but I think we can get a little more for him. I know, JM. It hurts to trade Kyle Fuller, but I really think that that we're going to be able to use this cap space well in terms of who and how we can upgrade things. So the question is, what team do we want to take a look at? Let's feel out his value. The question becomes like, what can we try to get for it? I tell you, Case, with his contract, part of me thinks we could get like a 2, maybe a 3, but But at this point, if the Bears can get that cap room, that's going to really help them out. So the question becomes, where would you take a look at it? Corey, I don't actually know where we're picking. But yeah, exactly like you're saying, Neil, I think it's probably a second or a third. But he's the Bears' best option for cap relief if we can figure out a destination for him. So what does this mean? Interest levels. Okay, I see what it means. At this point, it's just a matter of a team that needs cornerbacking help. So let's flick through here. We'll find something. It all depends on what the game thinks, because I think the Raiders actually makes a lot of sense. So if that's the case, you know what? Let's see if we can do this. Let's see what it would take to get Derek Carr. What's that offer? What's that interest like? Look at that. We are on the doorstep of potentially trading Fuller for Carr. But so let's see. Fiend Torturous. Let's do Kyle Fuller. And what do we want? As far as, I'm sure we could take a draft pick too. So we could take, could have sworn we just got Houston's round 4 here. So let's take a look. In terms of, well, this would be like making a decision on the quarterback. So let's see if we can go 5th round pick. You know what? Let's be realistic. It's probably going to be a 3rd round pick. So we'll remove that from the trade, see if they want it, submit the offer, trade offer accepted. So Kyle Fuller for Derek Carr, or Kyle Fuller and a 3rd for Derek Carr. Why not, right? At some point, this is off-season round 1. We'll redo the off-season another time. We're totally doing this just off the top of our head. So the Bears at this point have used Kyle Fuller to make their upgraded quarterback. Carr is not a perfect value there, but it works. The Bears get what they need. I'm kind of trying, JM, to go for realism here. So at this point, the Bears have 25.5 in cap room, enough to certainly try to fill their roster out. And they got Carr in the process, which I think is not a bad option here at quarterback. And then we've got Nick Foles backing him up, which, don't get me wrong, I don't love it, but it works for us. It shift Foles to what, Derek? Running back? Or move him around from there. At this point, the question becomes the offensive line, because let's be honest, guys. I don't know who Sloman here is. He's got to be like a punter or something. But yeah, no, new poster. I completely agree with you in terms of what you're saying. Fuller for Carr would be. Let's just say that the Bears would win that trade almost 100% of the time. But I'm not about to say no to it. So at this point, let's see. What is this? The available cap room. I think it's wrong because we just created a little more cap room than that, if memory serves. But I don't know the difference between available funds and cap room, because a lot of this is just Madden language. But let's take a look. JM, I already offered Robinson an extension just to show what I think he's worth, but chances are the Bears are tagging him. Funds don't matter. It's all cap room. That makes a lot of sense. So at that point, what the Bears are probably looking for, let's see if we can get a fairly inexpensive upgrade at right guard, so that we only have to address tackle going into things. And then we'll do the draft together and see how the team feels moving forward. So let's take a look in terms of the guard market. We got Brian Winters. You know what? Winters is one that I was looking at. He's only 30. He's fairly agile. He fits what the Bears are kind of looking for, and he's not all that expensive. I can't remember what team he just played for. It escapes me, but he's one of those players that you look at that you say, we could do worse. And he's an instant upgrade in terms of the video game, so I'll probably offer him. Let's see, the fair offer is right there, so we'll undercut him ever so slightly because we're sharks. And it looks like he's interested, so we've spent a little bit of our cap space on a quick little upgrade right there that should add to our team and help us try to upgrade this roster ever so slightly. But so let me see. Cars, Patriots. Yeah, he very well may have. So we're starting to run low on cap space. What other signings can y'all think of before we get into like true veteran minimum? Is there, by the way, a fill out my like in case for you, the Madden guru in here, is there like a fill out my roster kind of thing where it just takes and adds a bunch of depth before the draft? Or is, let's see, let's take a look. So, yeah, we still need a safety. We could take a look for one of those in the draft. Our wide receiver room, I would say that it could probably be better, could be worse. We've got, it still counts Anthony Miller as better than Darnell Mooney. That's a mistake. But so our running back room could be worse. Cole Kmet as tight end number 1 is solid. We can look for another tight end in the draft as well. Hazables, that makes a lot of sense. So at this point, we've got Jalen Johnson as cornerback 1 and Kendall Vildor. I think you're right, JM. Signing a veteran corner makes a whole lot of sense at that point. So, Slim Jim, I love it. Just cutting Javon Wims cold. I mean, hey, him and Miller honestly earned it. They earned whatever comes to them because they struggled, to say the least, especially when Roby Coleman and whatnot, and what happened there took place, which is a bummer. But so let's see. We've got Janoris Jenkins, LaMarcus Joyner, and Malcolm Butler. None of these guys are bad options. I'd probably looking at them. I don't think Eli Apple's a 34. But so we're looking for probably like a 1-year deal. Desmond Trufant gets injured all the time. I would probably look. Joe Hayden's a good corner and has been for quite some time. Neovasser, this is franchise mode. Malcolm Butler's a great name brand guy. I'd probably, like you're talking about Case Master, look for, let's go Joe Hayden. I think in terms of a man-to-man corner, he fits well with what Jalen Johnson's looking to do. So if we could get him on a 7-year deal, that is not what I was looking for. If we can get him on a 1-year deal, he's a scheme fits. Let's lower the money a little bit, see what he thinks if we did that. $4.3 million for him. Yeah, that works. It's great. Okay, so at this point, we're in on Joe Hayden. We're in on a right guard. So we'll take a look there. Veteran minimum, I'm kind of poking around. So let's take a look back at the roster again. This is where all those conversations about like the Bears, yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? The Bears being in like cap hell come into play because we look at this roster and okay, so now we need some beef on we get Nichols back or Goldman back here soon, 17 more weeks. That's one way to put the opt-out. But so Goldman's about to be our anchor. If we can get a left end or a right end, that's going to be helpful. Danny Trevathan's a starter for a good little bit of time, whether we like it or not. I love that they've got Roquan Smith as an ascending player. He has earned it. We've got a potential solution here at CB2. Let's take a look and see if we can't get a veteran minimum safety. I think that would make a lot of sense. That's a good way to put it, Derek. We're not in hell quite like a lot of other teams are, but it's definitely not ideal in terms of where we want to be. Let's see if we can't get. Let's see, 1.21 million. Sorensen is available. Look, he's not that bad, but he's not that great either. This is a funny one, but let's see. Whoa, I did not think that the signing bonus would spike up that high. And here I thought, what did I do? Did I breach past? Okay, I went too low apparently. So let's see here. Should be able to get it into the low 500s. Let's make that. See what he thinks. Could be worse. Yeah, he's not a huge upgrade. He's just better than absolutely nothing. And like you're saying, there's a little bit of a Nagy connection there. So why not? But so let's see. Would Clowney 1 year? I see it. It depends. It all depends on the money. The money really is everything. Let's take a look at the wide receiver market, see if we can go bargain basement shopping. That and the tight end market could be potential spots where we find something. Because obviously, like, you got, Devin Funchess, DeMarcus Robinson, D.D. Westbrook, guys that they're all over the place, right? Zach Pascal, for instance, just blew up in Tennessee. So he's exactly the kind of player that should get paid quite a bit of money, but it feels like you can find the low-grade guys for a little bit cheaper. Then again, even the 74 and 75 guys are looking to get a whole bunch of money over time. So there's part of me that looks and throws my shoulders in the air and says, like, I don't know. Because right now, I mean, this is where video game doesn't meet real life very well. Because like you're talking about Hasbabbles, this game thinks that Miller is better than he is in games. I think Miller's a monstrous ball of talent. I'll tell you guys that outright. I have no issues saying that. The problem is that Miller's talent doesn't show up on the field like it will in a video game. And so when I look at a guy like Alan Lazard, do I think he's going to get 10.3 over 3 years? Maybe, but that's going to tank our cap space due to the 1 year deal, or due to the first year. So I don't know if we can make that move just yet, but we'll have to get there when we get there. Part of me thinks that, oh, they've still got Taylor Gabriel in the game. Look at that. That we're going to have to ride with what we've got, and we'll have to see how things go along in our negotiations for at the very least a little bit, because a lot of things that we're going to do here are going to ride on the draft. I have no idea. It all depends on what the
stats, such as the 40-yard
it takes a look, or it all depends on what the
scouting.
Bears financial situation looks like by the time we get there, and frankly if they can afford that. So we brought if 80 back, we could be doing worse on some of this front. Is that okay? Tight end room is not looking as good as we'd want it. I think they've got Cole Kmet rated a smidge. I think 72 with a potential step forward coming up makes a lot of sense. Wide receiver room is one guy and not a ton else. Derek Carr probably ought to be closer to an 85 in my opinion, probably an 86, but hey, there we go. It looks like Slim Jim they did, which is ideal. From there it looks like we can upgrade players. So let's see, does that mean upgrading? What is that? Oh, they've got a whole bunch of skill points available. That's great. Let's take a look at Darnell Mooney, see if we can make him a little bit better, because I think that makes sense. So I think for certain his deep ability is getting better and better. This makes a lot of sense in terms of upgrading his deep threat stuff. I frankly think we can upgrade it again, because Darnell Mooney is he looks terrible, by the way. This picture of Mooney looks awful, almost laughable. But so I think Mooney is becoming a better and better deep threat in terms of how he plays. I think that he's a shockingly good route runner, by the way. That's something that I think has been really, really impressive on his part. And I wonder if there is... Okay, so there's not. I wish there was something about play after catch, because Darnell Mooney has been a shocking revelation in terms of what he does, not only in terms of his route running, but also how well he's playing with the ball in his hands once he's when he tries to make a play. He's been really good there. And yeah, I agree with you, Greenwood. The trouble is that in terms of Madden and whatnot, there are a lot of situations. Okay, cool. We can upgrade Kmet. That's great. So his blocking got a lot better. I think he gets 2 points in blocking, because his blocking from the start of the season was a little like yeesh, and and then as he moved along in the season, you know what? He got pretty solid. This doesn't look anything like him. These guys, these pictures of the players are amusing, let's say. We still got 2 skill points, so we'll go ahead, and I think he also got better as a route runner, but exactly like you're talking about, Derek, he went from oh no to passable, and you know what? He hits a good block every once in a while now, which is solid. So I think that his possession catching got better. We can throw one more blocking point in there, not just for video gamey reasons, but also because I think that was the primary spot his game improved. But we need to see something from him in this next season, because tight ends tend to take that step forward in that second year. So I think, Neo, I'd love to, but I'm trying at this point to use these skill points to show off where I think the players grew. Roquan actually looks like himself. Look at that. And like you're saying, Steven, maybe the pictures just don't work for everybody. But so, Slim Jim, we're going to do the draft, and we're going to play some of the season. Why not? We do want to play some Madden at some point. I'm going to put all 3 of Roquan's skill points into pass coverage, because I thought Roquan's pass coverage was nothing short of exceptional in this last season. I mean, he was really special. Tariq, let's upgrade him. He's elusive. Yes, that makes too much sense. Okay, so every once in a while, or this game's actually getting the face scan right, which is a little funny to look at, but hey, there you go. Yeah, we're going to be turning the clock off for the draft for sure. Robinson has 2 skill points. Now, that's neat. He probably gets almost everything in Route Runner. But so, let's see. Really, Case? That's interesting. So at this point, I thought Robinson was a phenomenal possession player this year, which sounds like I hear a lot of people hear possession player and think, oh, he did not play very well, or oh, he just didn't catch any of the deep stuff. But hey, Robinson must have been like a third of our first down catches, which was pretty unbelievable. And I think that deserves a massive kudos. That's why I just dumped his stuff into that. Our team's getting a whole lot better, by the way, in a hurry, just based on tagging people with these. I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth with Anthony Miller. I don't think he should be starting on the Bears, but if he's really going to move up to like a 78, I'm going to be honest, guys. I would love that extra receiver to move to. So you know what? We're just going to pretend that Miller figured it out in his 4th year in the league. But Shane, it's funny you ask. I am a Baylor Bear. That's where I went to school. So that's the college team that I root for. It has been a very, very up and down setup over the last bunch of years. I thought Rule was a whole lot of fun. The Bryles era was obviously a massive problem in terms of how things ended. Just horrible to see what happened there. Okay, James Daniels, we can upgrade him a little bit. That's neat. So I thought, in terms of Daniels, his power, he looked dramatically stronger. He looked so much stronger as a left guard than he did as a center. So I thought that and his pass protection really looked a lot better. And we only got like 3 games out of him, which is a massive bummer. But hey, that works. Shane, I don't. But hey, I only get to pick the battles that I get to pick. Thankfully, I put most of my, wow, they've really got him as an 82 elusive back. I really think Montgomery's a stronger power back, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think Montgomery's power is something to behold, especially when he gets into that second level. We get a skill point for Charles Leno. Where's the fan least favorite? Man. So I guess we'll throw it into pass protector, because why not? And that's exactly how I feel Greenwood in a lot of cases. In Baylor's case, for sure, I looked at that like, what season? But so, yeah, we'll take a look there. Neo, I honestly think that, I don't mean this as any, what would you call it? I don't mean this as any negativity per se, but I thought that Bars looked like a really good backup. At this point, when I look at Bars, I think he's a great guy to keep around in terms of like what he could go do on the rest of the team. Mustafa is one that I'm a little intrigued by, if only because centers are hard to find, but it's tough to tell because he got mashed by the Saints, which is just not a shocker because the Saints are as good as they are. Man, we get to upgrade Khalil Mack more. That's just mean. But Mustafa's one of those where I think because of his position, it's a possible that he could potentially compete for a starting spot next year. I would expect the Bears to look for other options though in the draft, depending on what falls. We'll see what we get. I want to win week 1. So we're going to be looking to try and deal with that. As far as Bilal Nichols, his run stopping did get a lot better. He has to play 1 gap defense, so he's not a 2 gapper. But when he's got the ability to play that single gap, he was very, very good. He was very, very good at controlling his gap and making plays on the run. Not everybody is Akeem Hicks. Bilal Nichols is definitely not heavy enough to be Akeem Hicks. But in terms of a rotational defensive end, I thought that he was surprisingly strong. Whitehair has always been fairly powerful. It's funny looking at his contract because I got to tell you guys, I mean this in the most Bears-friendly way I can say it. I don't know what to think about it because I don't know if Whitehair is really blossomed as one of the strongest guards in the NFL. He's been pretty good, and the Bears are paying him pretty good money to be pretty good. So nothing great, nothing terrible though. And it's been funny to watch his development because I wouldn't say that he's like killing people in terms of like the way he plays the game. Duke Shelley, by the way, has been a much stronger, I think, man-to-man corner. He gets lost in zones a little bit, not that uncommon for rookies, and he gets murdered in the slot, but a lot of people do. The slot's extremely hard to play out of. I don't know why it is that people aren't putting better players in the slot more often, and it's exactly why you're seeing guys like Allen Robinson fit into the slot so naturally so often. EA Boonyway's funny because his pass coverage is unironically like phenomenal. You're going to think that's ridiculous. But when Iggy's playing zone and man coverage, he's a really good linebacker. He just gets totally lost in terms of where he should be on the field, and it's kind of funny to watch. All right, so it looks like we've got most of our player upgrades handled, which is important because that pretty much, like, you can take a look at the lineup. That raises the roster's general playing level quite a bit. So now we've got some 80s, we've got some 83s. Hopefully we'll be able to bump Carr up a little bit. But again, Fuller for Carr, like, I'll take it. But so, let's see, hold A to reorder. A Nichols or right there, not so bad. But so, oh, okay, that's great to know. That's exactly what I needed to know. But so, let's upgrade all players. Boom. At that point, now we've got what we need. So let's take a look at our cap space. We are going to go, I'm going to trust you guys for the draft. You guys are going to make the decisions on who we draft because I would not consider myself a draft guy. I don't take a look at I divert most of what I would say about the draft to other people. Jacob Afante's a great option and so on and so forth, where there are a bunch of draft guys that I would point to and say, you guys should listen to them because I don't have the time to just watch every single prospect like a lot of people do. So we're going to turn the draft clock off. If somebody if somebody's able to let me know how I can take that down. But I did, by the way, Corey, import the 21 class. Do we want to Hasable's? We can go ahead and scout, folks, if you want to. But so, Derek, I can tell you what our needs probably are. In fact, you could consider me the GM and all of y'all the scouts. Let's see, how do we check the combines? Where I'm popping around. I did import the 21 class, Corey, so don't worry about that. Let's see. I've got until week 8 of the regular season. Let's take a look at the team. There is an auto scout. That's good to know. But so Trey Lance is good in general. You guys are going to think I'm crazy for saying that. I thought Seth Galina's article was interesting fairly recently. Look, I don't know if I 100% agree with it, but you take a look at a guy like Lance, I think he's got shockingly good, I think he's got a lot of very good traits. The question is how they're going to carry into the NFL, but in terms of his processor, that's surprisingly good. His short accuracy is good. His running ability is great. Let's take a look at exactly where Mac Jones is. Though, Corey, we did bring in an answer at quarterback, so we'll see. Let's take a look at whoa, they've got a poor combine grade out of Zach Wilson. That's kind of funny to see. Let's see if there's a way to just edit this down. We've got, oh wow, Kyle Trask is ahead of Mac Jones, but Mac Jones is a second round grade on him. I think Jones is probably going to go somewhere in the 20 to 25 region. That's just my take personally, but we'll see. And like you're talking about, Papa, I think Mac Jones makes a lot of sense if the Bears do look at quarterback, but we'll see. Like everybody's talking about. There's a whole lot there to just dig into. Let's take a look at tackles, because I think Christian Darrisaw makes a whole lot of sense. They've got him as a second rounder. Are you kidding? I feel like he's looking pretty good. So let's quick scout him. He's got an A- impact block. That's what we're talking about. A power tackle would be huge for this class. Let's take a look at the guards, by the way, especially the guys. It really drops from 1st to 6th round. Are you kidding me? Okay, let's see if what we can get out of this guy. Jack Anderson, Zion Johnson, could be worse. Just a quick scouting report works fine. Darrisaw being a scheme report, or I'm trying to just throw as many of these things around as possible. Start thinking about late rounds, guys, because honestly, there are a whole bunch of solutions there that I don't think I necessarily have. So let's take a look at some centers while we're at it. I think a 5th round center, maybe a 4th round center could be what we need. You know, they never say anything bad about centers at Iowa. So let's take a look there. Could be a lot worse. Looks honestly pretty solid. 2nd round talent. Graded out of the 4th round. Okay. But so yeah, throw things out there for me to take a look at. Let's see. I think a safety makes a lot of sense. Somebody talking about that. I don't think that honestly, I think a lot of these designations, like strong safety, free safety, they're not really a thing anymore. Honestly, you end up with more like boundary safety and field safety, or just safety 1, safety 2. But let's take a look at who we've got. A Syracuse safety. I know the Bears play more of a hybrid zone style, but they're going to consider us more of a run support team. But yeah, exactly like you're talking about, Derek, we're going to go receiver when we can get there. Let's take a look. First things first, we probably want a 4th. When do y'all think LSU, Jacoby Stevens, or you know what? Let's just take a look at what our scouts say. All right, we got some answers there. So let's go now to wide receiver and start taking a look at some of the guys around here. I think Kadarius Toney is certainly an interesting option. They've got him as a 4th round grade though, so we'll see. Let's take a look around here. Throw something out if you're like, yes. Like if there's a specific receiver that you want me to quickly throw some scouting points into, I'm interested. And like you're talking about, Case, I think DT makes a whole lot of sense as far as another position to look at, because the Bears could use a true run stuffer, especially out of this class. You're going to end up with a lot of these round 1 guys, I think anyways. But let's see. West Virginia doesn't put out bad run stoppers. You never can go wrong with Alabama necessarily. Let's throw some scouting reports into Jordan Davis here, and let's do Darius Stills. Okay, so some 3rd round guys that could certainly take over should it be needed. Let's get ourselves an end player while we're at it. See what we can get out of maybe, let's see. Honestly, I'm just chucking people, or I'm just throwing things around. We can go with, we can throw some stuff on an Oklahoma player. What else do we want at wide receiver? Yeah, I was thinking exactly that, Case, about how now that we've traded Hicks, we probably need to look at end talent. But so we could use a slot player, I think. I don't want to draft anybody out of Texas. Call me what you will. Let's see. UCF, Marlon Williams. He's a 5th rounder, should be a 6th guy. Let's see. Catching traffic, combine grade. Well, we're out of scouting stuff, so let's move on. How many weeks is there in free agency? Okay, there's quite a bit. Do we want to just sim to the draft? That makes a lot of sense to me. But so, let's just do it. Let's do it. Why not? Because I'm definitely here to, oh man, if the Bears and the Cowboys didn't exist, who would I root for? That's a good question. I think a lot of NFL stuff really comes down to family ties. I really do. Like family ties and where you are. So maybe the answer would be the Houston Texans, but I don't want to say that. I don't like the Texans. So let's see. How do I turn off the clock? Is that something that I can do? Because if not, I want to just go ahead and check through it. I am. So it's been cold, jam, but thankfully we've got power now. Let's see. Pause the... Okay, it's that simple? Let's see. Okay, let's take a look at the draft board. This is something. Oh, wow, no kidding. It is that simple. It really is. So now we've got the 1st round, pick number 1. We'll hang out and do this. But so...
The Dolphins are now on the clock.
Looks like we've got... Does it tell us who they picked? Let's see. Yeah, I can see where it is now, thankfully. But I was anticipating that it would give us a little bit more fanfare. Okay, they picked Trevor Lawrence. I gotcha. So, yeah, the football team won the draft lottery. So there you go. Then they took Gregory Rousseau. Great. Yeah, Case, that'd really shake up the league, wouldn't it? Kind of funny to think about in that capacity. So I don't know. Somebody mentioned Riley Ridley earlier. I don't know what to think about Ridley. Every time I see Ridley get in the game, I'm not necessarily
Titans
seeing
are now on
crazy
the clock.
speed. I don't see a ton of physicality. I don't see a lot of the things that I would want to take a look at. Or I don't see a lot of the things that would make me think he's about to be an explosive receiver, but he does tend to get open and catch things, and I can't tell whether it's partially just the routes he runs.
Bengals are now
Like
on the clock.
Javon Wims can gain separation on a dig route on the deep part of the field, which a lot of times is what Riley Ridley runs. But hey, I'm not trying to come down on the guy. I'm just trying to be frank about the fact that from a 4th round pick that a lot of people said was a total bargain. Thank you so much, honey. He's not necessarily blown the barn
Vikings
door
are now
off
on
of what I think of him, but hey, I would love to be wrong in any capacity, especially when I'm talking about a bear that I don't think is playing all that well. Hang on.
The Falcons are now on the clock.
Oh wow, Jalen Waddle going to the Vikings. Let's go ahead and skip to our
The
pick.
Bears are now on the
So
clock.
we'll take a look at, we've got pick number 16. Could be worse. So let's go ahead and pause the draft here. So we've got plenty of time to talk about and think about it. So we've got our 1st round pick. I think personally, let's go ahead and pick the player that if we take a look at tackle, we at least are going to see our options. Holy smokes. Okay, so do we want Rashawn Slater out of Northwestern? Do we we can take that? I think taking a tackle in the first case. Ooh, that's a great idea, Corey. To take a look. Where do I take a look at offers? So let's see. We've got some offers there for somebody wants a 2, a 3, and a 4. I don't think that works. I don't think that works. We could pick up a 5, really, to go down to 29. I don't think there's any way. I don't think a lot of these offers honestly understand the gravity of of this pick, because you would anticipate that somebody would be trying to trade for this pick with at the very least a 1 in the package. You should frankly be able to get a 3 or a 4, but yeah, these don't work. So let's go ahead and make our selection. I think the best thing we're going to do is to take a player here. It's funny to see Trey Lance made it all the way down here. That could be worse. But so, man, that's a next year's first case. Good point. Yeah. I'll look at a lot of those. Derek, let's go take a look at it. So one thing that I've noticed is that a lot of these players, or a lot of these trades, tend to work much more off the Jimmy Johnson trade chart. So a lot of these, let's take a look. Yeah, this Minnesota, they're giving us almost all 2022. All we'd really get back is around 4. So let's see. Washington wants a 22 round 2, a 21 round 3, and a 21 round 6. Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing, ENB. I think we pick a right tackle. I think we put that sort of thing in. And I totally get offering trades, Corey, but I'm worried that they don't value the pick the same way that I would, as evidenced by the 7 trade offers that we have. So I think that while I want to trade down while trading down doesn't bother me in the real draft, I don't think we're going to get the kind of value that I didn't expect Slater to still be here on the board, but this works for me. So let's take Slater.
The Packers
We'll
are now
draft
on
him.
the clock.
Packers are on the clock now. He is, 70 overall. Great. They've got him at 45 in real value, but I think Slater's a great pick in the 1st round, and that we can make him work. Next thing, we will go to our next user pick. Yeah,
Bears
I
are
think
now
you can
on the
look for
clock.
D-line steals. I think they just need to be more role players. So let's take a look at this. But yeah, so let's see what we've got. Let's take a look at the draft board. Just recognized that we don't quite know what's going on. But so, yeah, you guys know a lot of this Madden stuff way better than I do. So I'll just take your word for it on a lot of that. We can start Slater pretty much immediately because that works for me. He should be able to slot in right where Fady is, and so on and so forth. So as far as what we've got on the rest of the team, let's see. Did it say Zach Wilson's still here? Is that a thing? But so, well, when we look at the rest of this roster, I think getting a strong safety would work. But in our second round, I also want to make sure that we've got a center that we. Okay, so it's considering James Daniels, or Cody a center, and James a left guard. So with that in mind, with a right guard there, what do we think? Do we want to do another lineman at round 2? I never have an issue with taking 2 linemen. Never have a problem with it, because if Winters ends up as good depth, he ends up as good depth, and there's nothing wrong with that. But let's see what we've got here. Is Wilson really there? Let's see. Yeah, Zach Wilson is a first rounder, and he's here at number 2. I think taking Wilson is just not a bad idea. What do y'all think? Is that ridiculous, or do we want to go? So I leave this up to y'all. Let's see what we can get a couple of votes in. We can take a look at offensive line while we're at it. It makes a lot of sense to take Zach Wilson in number 2. At number 2, we've got Anderson and Zion Johnson, and honestly, there's just a lot of stuff that I don't know a lot about these guys. So when you see things, Darrisaw's there at number 2, or Darrisaw's there at tackle, but I'm fine. Let's see. I agree with you, JM. Let's see. Or who's Bateman? Out of curiosity, James. I am missing who he is, unfortunately. Oh, Rashad Bateman, the deep threat. That makes a lot of sense. So do we want to go wide receiver? Because, yeah, let's go wide receiver. Why not? We'll build around Carr. I think we could do worse than that. Let's draft him. Because like you're saying, Wilson would be awesome. I don't think he's going to be there. So at that point, who knows? Ian B, I don't know if there's... I agree with you, Case. If this was real, I would take Wilson in an instant. The question is, do we take things as semi-realistic? And if we... if we do that, honestly, you guys have got me convinced. Let's take a look around the board and see what we've got at offensive line talent. It looks like, according to the projections, what we could do is we could take Darrisaw and move him. Because honestly, not only did we scout him and he fits really well, but if things don't work out, now we've got 2 tackles. I think Darrisaw makes a lot of sense. What do y'all think? At this point, like you're saying, Case, you could I don't think that there's anything wrong. I've been saying on any podcast that I could that it makes sense to hold your ground and just take linemen. So at this point, if I am looking at it, Ian B, if Zach Wilson gets to the second round, I'll Venmo you money. Like, it doesn't matter how much. It's just so almost ridiculous that he falls in here that it'd be like, okay, that's just Madden being Madden. At this point, I think Darrisaw makes a whole lot of sense. It's just a matter of how because at this point, sure, you don't expect Slater to be there at 16, and then you get your chance at a guy like Darrisaw, but let's see, or take Jackson. Oh, Alaric Jackson? So, it's a good question. We certainly could. But so... let's see. You can only play one quarterback. So, with this in mind, I think... Let's take a look. You know what? Let's look at our ends. What do we have here? So, we've got round 3, third round... We still got to, I think D-line makes a lot of sense. D-line would make a lot of sense if the talent was there, and the talent isn't really there. We don't need a linebacker in the second round. I don't think you get that kind of positional value. We didn't do any scouting on cornerbacks. A cornerback in round 2 is just not ridiculous either. But I'm going to throw some investment into the offensive line. We're going to make absolutely sure that we don't have issues there, and then we're going to go D-line in the third round, if we can get it. So Christian Darrisaw has a normal development rate. We'll see what happens there. Great. The true value is killing us. So that's not ideal. But we take what we get, and we trust the real stuff. But so we did give up the 3 for Carr. Let's take a look at our pick selections. So Ian B, I'm just sitting here trying to trust my scouts, and my scouts didn't give me much to work with. But so what do we got here? All right, so we've got some fifth round DTs. We've got a couple of defensive end options. Demiche could be worse, but yeah. More scouting makes a whole lot of sense next time. See, this is why we go through and we potentially do it again. But yeah, you only get so much points. The round projection is not helping me out either way. We're going to do the best that we can. And here in the 4th round, it makes a lot of sense. I want to take a look at tight ends, and I want to look at these defensive linemen. So it looks as if we don't have much out of the tight end or the tight end spot. But yeah, now I would love to see that, but I don't know if it'll happen. It'd be super fun if it would, though. Let's take a look at what do we got? Left end, right end, DT. How reliable are the combine grades in this? You know what? We'll just go ahead and or we really might as well. Exactly like you're saying, Kahune. I almost couldn't handle the idea of taking Wilson, if only because when he dropped to number 2, I was like, what? Wow. Okay. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Still got Kadarius Toney around, so let's take a look at picking a player. Ramona St. Brown is on the board. So is Kadarius Toney. If y'all were going to go through and pick a receiver, I don't think round 5 is a bad spot to ever stack up on talent. So it's 100% y'all's call. Would you prefer Toney? Would you prefer St. Brown? I'll take the one who gets the most attention here. And because, again, never an issue in my opinion to load up at wide receiver. But yeah, I completely see what you mean, Case. That they either just like nosedive or they go where quote unquote they should. We've got 2 for Toney, 1 for the faster one for Brown. I'll let a couple more come in. Yeah, late or first round quarterbacks doesn't tend to happen. We've got 3 for Toney. That works. And again, if it doesn't work going forward, so be it. But so
the Packers are now
we'll take the known quality. We got a good pick. There we go. And we can move on from there. So I'm curious to hear if y'all have it. Like, I saw that we got the hidden talent thing on our first pick, Slater. So I am really curious to hear how this works. Look at that speed. He's 91 in speed and acceleration, which could be worse. A surprisingly solid aggressive catch too. But how does the development thing work? Because it talked about normal versus yeah, exactly, Derek. We're getting value in those later rounds where people say, "Are you kidding me?" And then we go out and get good stuff. Hidden talent is good. That makes sense. So let's take a look at what we've got on the board here. Amari Rodgers is still around, but we already got the receiver that we need. So let's poke on through here, looking at our options. Okay, so for a 6th rounder, we probably want somebody more like an end, but I think we just took one a little further up. Let me make sure that I know what's going on with our draft. Let's see. I don't know. What are the offers here? 2022. They give us their pick. Is that really their offer? Are y'all seeing this? Where for the price of my 6th round pick, they'll give me their 6th round pick. That's it. That's the whole deal. That's it. So that's great. But so yeah. The case that makes sense. We'll go ahead and make our pick then. Cleveland just said, "That's all I'll give you." The Browns are offering, I'm sure they'd have somebody bake me a cake or something. Send along a gift basket. But so that's really where the round is, or where the value is. It's just trade away your pick. See what you can get. You never know. You don't know until you ask. But so let's see. We've got more wide receivers, which would be great if we needed one, but we really don't. So let's see what we've got in terms. I bet there's nothing in terms of defensive tackle. There's not. Why would there be? That's some positional value right there. As we've got undrafted potential here. I feel like a lot of the tackles an interesting one because I keep forgetting that in a lot of cases tackle is equivalent to or what do you call it, a guard in most of these cases. So that works if we need it. It looks like a lot of the running backs flew off the board, which makes sense. Are you yeah, Yeah, I mean, Slim Jim, they asked. Why not, right? So we've already added two offensive linemen. I know some people were talking about potentially throwing in a little bit more competition for Leno. I think that a vertical threat tight end makes some sense. So let's take a look there. This is where our scouting department. I mean, look at how great they did. We're relying entirely off of we're going almost entirely off of the dadgum like mock drafts here. So Mel Kiper needs to come through for us as we take a look. I part of me wants a cornerback, but I feel like we got a decent cornerback overall and can bet on like Duke Shelley. You know, Greenwood, I'm probably going to take a kicker here in a little bit, especially in the undrafted season. That's probably what we're looking for. But so let's go. Let's just take the first left tackle on the board and hope. Tevin Jenkins. Why not?
The Packers are now on the clock.
We reached. Guys, Ryan Pace, rough draft, but that's where we're gonna make up for this in the actual game, or in the actual games. But so let's see the history. I wonder if Sarah Fuller's in the draft class. But so we've got a 7th round pick. We can poke through here. Cornerback options, left end options. I have a feeling Khalil Mack would go for at this point like what, a 3rd round pick. I'm surprised at the way that Madden is valuing them. We could take a defensive back. Never a bad thing to have more defensive backs. I don't know anything about Jamar Jefferson. All I know is that when I hear Oregon State, I know exactly the running back that I think of. But so this is where you guys are really seeing how serious I am about not being a great draft guy. So we could go Marlon Williams as a potential slot option. We already have Tony, but you know what? Let's just throw it at cornerback. I really don't think that there's any problem with getting defensive backs. Great, we reached again. But so I agree with you, Case. I also think that the option could easily be, it's in April, Slim Jim. That's about as much as I know. So let's see. And there we go. We're done with the draft. We stocked up on offensive line, added a couple of receivers, and let's take a look at our lineup. I think that this could be a lot worse. We've got where is Slater? Oh, they've got Slater over here at guard. That's something. I feel like Slater probably ought to be starting. So let's see if we can get him on the field. Let's throw him into the depth chart. I think he makes a lot more sense at right tackle. But who knows? Let's see what the coaches think if we put him up there. Yeah, you know what? He'll start. So we'll have Slater starting at right tackle. Let's go through the guard position. Winters makes a lot of sense there. And then we've got center, left guard. Yes, we got our cat a DNA test to try to figure out how much jungle cat he is and how much normal cat he is. But we will see where we can get Darisaw in terms of the lineup. It's good to have him around, and we'll see what he can do to develop as his career progresses. We've also got Goldman, who should be able to get back in before we get there. Does setting a player as a captain do anything? They had to give him a PCL tear. That's funny. I think that's funny for an opt-out. But so, let's see. Rise. I traded Fuller and a 3 for Carr, which would be shocking if that happened. But if it did happen, it kind of works for everybody. Let's take a look. We've got, you said it'll go ahead and sim things, right? So if we move to preseason week 1, perfect. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Start your week by installing your game plan.
Let's see. We've got weekly training. How about we just go ahead and returning from injury, improve team. Let's see. We've got a big decision, is what it says.
You have grades for each position that browse available players to improve your team.
Okay. That's what we've got going on here. It's got Ryan Fitzpatrick as a 69. There you go. That's something. I don't know about that, though. Oh, that's so fun, honey. So let's see. Where does it do the thing where it just refills the roster and goes from there? And also, let's see if I can find us a kicker, because that's what we could really use. Let's see. Kicker and punter have got to have some options. You could do worse than some of these guys. Let's go with. Oh man, part of me wants to go with Bagley, but I'm not 100% sure. Bullock's going to be decent. He'll take like 75K, the minimum. Sign him to active roster for basically nothing. That works for me. And being 38 definitely makes a big difference on a guy like Fitzpatrick. I couldn't agree more. I just think it's a little on the interesting side given that he's playing better than he just about ever has. But so let's go with the best punter we can get. We could do worse than a guy like Ryan Allen. Interesting that the punters are making so much more than the kickers, but hey, there you go. I do think it's funny, by the way, Case, you talk about the awareness being as big a deal as it is. It is a big deal, but I do think it's always been funny in Madden where you click a button and Jay Cutler just throws the ball to absolutely nowhere. It's like Jay Cutler's a little more accurate than that. He's just a little on the nutty side. I don't think anything... I can't actually tell if anything happened to O'Donnell, but I think his contract ended. So at this point, we signed some starters, which is a little on the surprising side, but hey, we take what we can do. Derek Cole Kmet is going to be our lead dog tight end, and that's where we're at. But let's take a look at the tight end free agency market. See who we can pick up on veteran minimum. That's a good idea. Especially just given that we've been able to load up at other positions so far, so why not, right? Let's see. I think we could use a tight end if they're around. Vance McDonald could be worse. Jeremy Sprinkle, Ryan Griffin. A lot of these guys are, in particular, Vance McDonald is a name I remember, but I might be remembering a different player at a different position. I can't really 100% tell, but I think that trying to get this guy Dan Arnold here on a 1-year deal is going to... We don't actually have the cap room for it. We are where we're at, so we will go from there. Jimmy Graham, Jeffrey, we had to cut him for cap space. But so let's go ahead and advance to the regular season. Let's do it. Guys, get ready because we're about to play some football. We made it through the offseason. Version 1. We'll probably redo the offseason. And when we do, we may very well make some different choices. But let's take a look at what we have been able to accomplish and how it plays out for us as we start the next, this part of the season.
Your season goal
oh boy.
Higher rewards, but also higher risk.
Okay, I love this. So we are trying not to get fired. Is what I'm seeing. But so let's see. How many wins do we want to commit to? I think we commit to... so it's Matt Nagy, right? And that means that if we are going to realistically try to play this out, the only way that we're going to make this even somewhat realistic is if we have to make the goal to make the playoffs. And I don't know, maybe do we go make the Super Bowl and so on and so forth? Derek, I'll tell you what, if we did tank, you could do worse. Like, there are worse seasons to tank, but I get the impression Matt Nagy's in a bit of a pressure cooker here. So part of me thinks that this works out. Let's see. Let's do playoffs. I think playoffs works. 10 wins, I think that makes sense. We'll see if they could do it. I don't know if they can. This is going to be, like you're saying, Greenwood, this is going to be a very weird year. And there's no telling whether or not that's actually going to work out for us. Guys, Ryan Null's back. We're good. We're ready to go. Gardner Minshew's open. Suggested trade offer. That's funny. But so let's see. Upgrade players. What kind of stuff did they get? Look at that. That works out. So let's go ahead and do the upgrade all because I'm itching to actually play some football here. And it looks like we don't have enough players for our roster, and we're just gonna have to live with that. So let's simulate the training. And let's dive in. Oh, I remember this. Somebody was talking about, I think it was Case, was telling me about this moments section. And that is hilarious, if only because it throws you in on a third down and pulls you right off. But that is not how we're going to do this. We're going to play the whole game. So let's dive in. Let's do it. Every snap, baby. Here we go. Chicago Bears at the Arizona Cardinals. This one's going to be a good one. So let's set up the uniforms. because I always think that's about the most important thing that you can do. First things first. Ryan Null, the GOAT, obviously. Let's see. We've got our away uniform. So if we're away, part of me thinks, what if we... Okay, so one option would be to go with what I affectionately refer to as the polar bear. This is all pro, the Slim Jim. I feel like all Madden's not realistic in any capacity. Plexium, just for you, I very well may. I was thinking we could do the home alternate thing. What do they call it? The 1934 uniforms. But this one right there, because technically it kind of works as an away uniform. But I think that the orange makes a lot of sense in terms of what we could do. Let's see what would happen if we played with the helmet a little bit. No, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. I feel like we're just getting away from ourselves here. So I will throw this back on and we'll run with it. But so let's do this. Let's play. Why not? What does it mean, enhance? That makes sense, Derek. This is the regular season. This is week 1. So we're about to get it going. All right, so what we're probably going to be trying to do, given that they're the Cardinals, is we want to establish the run with our new offensive line additions. So we're going to see if we can do that a little bit. I know you guys have seen me play Madden before. You've seen me establish the run, meaning I run one running play and then go back to throwing it. But we're going to see what we can do, especially along that left side of the line, the veteran side that's going to need to carry some weight, before allowing Derek Carr to... or before giving the ball to Derek Carr and letting him show us why we traded Kyle Fuller for him. So here we go. Week 1, 2021. Let's do it. Oh, no, Case. I think that's what makes this so funny is here, we're simulating Matt Nagy, and I fit a little too well with Matt Nagy's play style. Man, we were so close to just playing out a season with Tyler Bray, weren't we? We easily could have let we could have easily just let Bray roll it out. And yeah, Slim Jim, I lost power between Monday and Wednesday, which was not a fun experience, but hey, it's one that we lived through. And then I threw together what I could yesterday, as you guys saw, just the off-season kickoff, and we went from there. Man, E&B, wouldn't that have been nuts? Trading Fuller in a third? That would be bananas, because that's basically an even cap space swap. That's the Gruden hates this guy trade. So Madden is a little interesting in that compartment. But hey, here we go. It'll be interesting to see what happens along our defensive line. We've definitely got some holes there. But we're going to do... Cohen's playing teams? Did anybody see that? I'm letting the whole broadcast play out because I think it's kind of fun. So here we go. Kyler Murray versus the Bears defense. But it's going to be this Bears offense that's going to have to really carry some weight. So let's see here. So when I look at, what is this play call? Oh man, I totally expected to get my sheet. We're going to start out in a nickel, and I want to start out specifically with, let's go with cover 2 sink. I think sink works really well for what the Bears want to do, primarily because you're able to put some guys into zone defenses and control the pace of play a little bit. Am I controlling 2 players at once?
That's going to be caught by Kirk.
I got roughing the passer immediately? Hot dang. Case, honest to goodness, didn't know that I had 2 controllers on. Let's take a look at the controller setup just to make sure that I didn't do something. You know what? We're just gonna play it out.
Let everyone know they're taking charge of this game. They're always gonna protect the quarterback.
We are now going to be rushing with Quinn and Max simultaneously, so that's great.
Murray now on first down. Open man.
It's only 1. No, it's 2. Oh, this is weird. Let's call Tampa 2. Try to keep things in check. Yeah, Jam. I don't know what's going on. This is bizarre. It's giving me 2 controllers. I wonder how this will work on offense. But we'll make it work. We've got ourselves a 3-yard stop, and that's solid right there. So with 4 wide receivers, I'm gonna probably switch to a dime package, and let's play man-to-man. We can do that. I really don't want to use the D-line. I've played so much D-lineman ball. Apparently there's something going on with the defense I was calling. So that works. Kenyon Drake now down again, 3rd and 14. So when I think third down defense, most of the time what I tend to think of is, oh man, a part of me wants to blitz, but it's Kyler Murray, so I don't know about that. We're going to go, we'll do it. We're going to go with this Foxfire zone press here. I like the idea of dropping somebody back into the middle of the field, playing general cover 3. Let's get into that. Now we're just going to run a Tampa 2 because I ran out of time. Forgot. It doesn't care that I'm streaming. Works. We'll take it. Big stop! First series of the season. At first, fans and tweeters everywhere were like, "You got to be kidding me! We're losing. We're getting driven on. This sucks." But now we're back. Now we're here. So here comes Derek Carr. That's not great, Case. But we work with this. So let's get this rolling. Let's go by formation. We're gonna start out of the gun, but we're gonna run a run out of the gun. So let's get the offset. I feel like we're running out of time here. This is Matt Nagy, right? We're gonna start with the jet. We're gonna do this. Oh-ho! There we go. I was really nervous. So we started out with a wide receiver jet, and Matt Nagy is telling it to the world. He's ready to let them know. All right, so let's see what we can go with now. As you know, I really like this play right here, the jailbreak screen. So we're gonna run it. I don't know who Sims is. I don't remember drafting him, but that didn't lose anything. Case, what am I missing? Is he a UDFA that I didn't even know that the Bears had? I consider myself fairly well known about the Bears, and here I'm sitting just lost. All right, so now we're gonna run a slant, and I mean A-Rob's just wide open. This is why we paid him $20 million. All pro, baby, all pro. A Yankee so far. We re-signed Allen Robinson. We managed to trade a 3rd-round pick and Kyle Fuller for Derek Carr, and we are up 7-0 in Week 1 after drafting a whole bunch of linemen in the draft. So that is as slow as I've just about ever seen. But yeah, Derek, that's exactly it. That's value for money right there. I'll have to mess with the depth chart, and you know what? Let's just see if we can do that now. Let's go to the wide receiving depth chart, because I don't know what Cam Sims is doing here over... Okay, Darno. That's what happened. It's that Tony is sitting down here at 66, when in reality, he'd be playing because he's a draft pick. So we're going to pretend that he's not... Or that... wait, what is Miller doing way down here? Miller is what looks like Sat. So we'll put Anthony Miller in because I don't really want to see Cam Sims on the field. So we've got Miller. Okay, actually, 100% y'all's decision. Do we want to play Tony over Miller, or do we play the better player and just say that Carr and Miller found their groove? But Mooney's gonna be our WR2, so that works. Cam Sims makes sense as the jump ball guy. Is Miller hurt? Can you see that already? Am I missing something? Oh, he's got a medical issue. So we'll play Tony in that case. And either that or Ridley. Let's see. Yeah, we'll put Ridley in. Because why not? We don't need Cam Sims. I haven't seen him play a snap. But so, thank you guys. I must have just missed the little medical card over there. Man, that is a slow accuracy thing. But it works.
This taken in about 4 yards
All right,
deep.
defense round 2.
Decide to not bring this one out.
So did I miss something? No. Okay, so Derek Carr is now 1 for 2 with a 1 yard loss on a screen pass, and I may very well be in pro. So I'll need to switch things up. Is that something that I can switch in the middle of a game? Because that is, oh, we're on rookie. Even better. That was not intended. We'll go ahead and switch that up right after this then. But so we're up 7-0, which I guess that works. But man, you know what? Let's see if we can super sim for a little bit, because I want to get us back to the point where we're actually playing like all pro properly. So we will jump forward to, let's see what happens in the next quarter. What do we got here? Because yeah, we're figuring all this out together. 7-3. Let's go. Oh boy. I did not intend to do end of game. Between controller hiccups and whatnot, let's see how these Bears do. 'Cause so far, they're actually handling Arizona decently. 20-10 could be worse. All Madden is terrible. I don't even know if it's the easiest case, but it feels like it cheats to me. I just want to get us to the point where we're actually able to talk through decent football, and I think All Pro lets us kind of do that. Holy smokes! These simulated Bears are just smoking people. Look at this, 31-10. Oh yeah. Okay, 31-17. We'll have to blog about that later. 34-17, and Cliff is mad. But that works for us. The Super Sim Bears dominated there, as Derek Carr leads us to a Week 1 victory. So yeah, no kidding, EMB. That's the kind of Bears content that I'm looking for here. Madden. And we'll get the difficulty all in place. Let's take a look at the stats here. Derek Carr, 317 and 3 touchdowns. Allen Robinson, 84 yards. Darnell Mooney comes in with a nice 62. David Montgomery got 11 carries, so nothing's new on that front. With a 133 QBR. Can you even imagine what Chicago would do if that happened? Let's take a look here. We've got... no, I just want to see Bears stats, gonna be honest. So... Mooney's got a nice little day. Robinson there too. Ridley got a neat little catch. Did we get anything out of Kmet? Kmet caught 64 yards. That works. But so then in terms of, let's see. No, generally good day overall. Really solid. So now let's actually get the difficulty set up correctly, and we'll go from there. Man, can you even imagine, ENB, how excited we would all be if it was like, oh boy, the Bears traded for Derek Carr. I'm a little nervous, but that works for me. And then like they actually came along and just blew out the Cardinals 31-10 at one point to close out the game. That would be nuts. So let's get a neat little upgrade going, because it looks like we've got a... Oh, here I was thinking that it only gave us one. Let's get our options set up. Team settings, game options. Not what I was looking for. I think it's league then. Skill levels on All Pro. What? But anyways, maybe I'll just have to manually set it every time. Let's do 8 minutes in that case. You know, honestly, Jacob, if that happened, I would go bananas. I mean, do I think that it's like easy and whatnot to make that work? I don't know. Like the Watson trade's gonna take a whole lot, but if it works, not gonna get upset about it. So let's go ahead and move to the next week, and we'll take on these new look
Start
Panthers.
your week by installing your game plan.
X Factor, my DC wants to talk through the next opponent. We're gonna slow him down. Game day goal: 1 or fewer rush touchdowns. Why would I trade for Watson, Slim Jim? Because the primary reason you would is so that you have that quarterback option in place moving forward. But a lot of it depends on the package. If it's 4 first-round picks, I don't think it works. But if it's even just 3, it is one of those where it's a gamble, right? Watson has to be really, really good, and the Bears around him have to work. but at the same time, at least you're not scraping the barrel for quarterback production, and you can go from there with a guy who should end up in the Hall of Fame. So it all depends on what we would do. But hey, that's always a question. So let's see, start training, offensive game plan. Gosh. Do I actually have to do anything here, or do I just click through stuff? Because we definitely want to see if we can't make things better. Dak Prescott would make a lot of sense if he hits the market, which would be great. Is this a drill? Oh, I have to play a drill. That doesn't work out as much. Let's do... Yeah, okay. With these guys focused, I think that works great. So we will go from there. Yeah, like you're saying, 3 for Watson works, I think, ideally. So let's go to our next season game. Simulate the training, 60-minute experience. Oh, I see the problem here. Somehow it has told itself that the keyboard is in this game. So if we see that keyboard, I've got to see if I can take that out. But if I do that, that'll work. So now we've got only one controller hooked up, which is ideal. ENB, I'll talk more about Gardner Minshew later. I think he's complicated, but I don't think that that's a bad thing. So I think you'd end up a little surprised on what he looks like, but that's, again, something that we'll address another time. So it's Thursday prime time, and if it's Thursday prime time, well, then we gotta go, what is this? The Color Rush alternate right here. But we will, I want to make sure that change what's still. I don't know why it was rookie. But then again, in my, I've been trying to reset the wind clock options for like quite some time. So let's see, let's change that to all Madden, and then let's go back and change it to all pro, and maybe that'll help. But either way, let's get some Madden going. So we've got the full game on our hands. We've got one controller, exactly as we should. Bears prime time. Bears Panthers prime time is exactly what I think of when I think of prime time. So I'm glad that they understand and recognize. And let's dive into it. See if we can get a decent game with correct difficulty settings. I mean, I'll take the wins against rookie, but it doesn't feel fair. In the world of, somebody said 3 firsts, 1 second, and Roquan. Probably, but I love Roquan Smith. The question there becomes, is Roquan in that case taking the place of 2 seconds? Good question, but we can get there when we get there. It's a complicated question. There's not necessarily a right answer, but that's definitely one I look at and think to myself, okay, maybe. So let's go settings, let's go game options. We're on all pro. There we go, folks. Let's beat the Panthers. That's what I wanted to see. Now we've got the correct thing going. Slim Jim, in this case, again, the only player that I would consider trading Roquan for is Deshaun Watson. That's like it. This is not, hey, let's trade Roquan. It's more like if Roquan came up and took the place of a whole bunch of picks that the Bears had to trade away, I would at least consider it if that's really what it took to get a Roquan deal done, or to get a Watson deal done. But again, that's one of those that it's like, it's a pipe dream. It's almost 100% a hypothetical. Now we've finally got Madden looking correct, by the way, which works for me. So it's one that I don't know if I think that you could market Roquan Smith as one of the best cover linebackers in football, which is the whole reason that he might end up in that deal. But hey, who knows? JM, things got real weird, so we ended up simming the game, and the Bears trashed the Cardinals 34-17, which is great. the question HW, like you're talking about, so you're talking about how Carr isn't worth 2 firsts. I think that that's a really interesting thing to say, not because you're wrong, but it's this idea of like, what is a quarterback worth? Quarterbacks are worth a whole lot. We're going to go with the Tampa 2, by the way, to see if we can't slow things around, or slow things down. Quarterbacks in general are worth a whole lot, especially above average quarterbacks like Carr. Even if Carr's not great, he's good, and that's what I think makes things so complicated. But yeah, like, it's a real question mark of like what that would look like. Let's go with base package 3-4. See if we can't get ourselves into cover 3 sky. I've always really liked this coverage. Standard cover 3. There we go. Got a nice run stop. Get ourselves some flex going on. Oh! But yeah, like you're saying, there we go. Got ourselves a nice stop. Let's see if we can turn it into a little bit more.
Yeah, we know you know better than I. He has the ability to take.
Let's go with. So I know Pagano liked to play a whole lot of man defense on 3rd down, and we'll just say that Desai does similar things. We're gonna go with a cover 1 right here on 3rd down. See if the Panthers have the weapons to beat our guys in man. They do. So that's something that we can take and go and roll with. Oh yeah, signed Joe Hayden. JM, I personally don't. Would you believe it that most of my fandom ends up lying with other Dallas teams outside of the Bears, who absolutely have my heart over like the Cowboys and whatnot. So let's see, we've drawn ourselves a throwaway. That works. Move it to 2nd down. So now in 2nd down, let's take a look at what they deploy in terms of wide receivers and whatnot. So we've got a 3 wide receiver set. I think that means we move into more of a nickel. Let's get a cover 3 buzz match going. I want to deny the Panthers from running things way downfield, but we will, I want to take a look and see if we can't force the ball down. We did, and it did not get much out of it. Or, like, we didn't get much out of it defensively, so I'm probably going to see if I can't start locking down those flats. But for now, let's see. Let's throw a blitz at him. It's 1st down. If we lose it, we lose it, and then we go get it back on offense. But yeah, we can't sit around and spend everything just waiting around. Oh yeah, rope one. Oh yeah. Really solid one right there. But yeah, that's the problem, JM, is that Dallas teams get a ton of press, so it's really easy for them to end up just hateable because they're kind of a pain to listen to, right? Let's go cover 1 hole, by the way. I want to do a quick man defense here on 2nd down and see if we can catch him cheating a little bit. Oh boy. Okay, solid job by Trevathan there to shed that block. Oh man, ENV. How could I not like the Stars? Oh, the Stars aren't hateable. Now I see what you mean. The Stars almost get no credit at all in Dallas. You'd almost forget that they were a Dallas team because most Dallasites don't pay a ton of attention to them. So they're an easy one to cheer for where people go, oh yeah, the Stars are in town. And that works for me because I really enjoy them. But I'm going to be really curious to see what happens with Desai. By the way, I'm all about that 3rd down stop. A field goal works for now. But it'll be curious to see what happens with Quinn. I think that he very well could rebound from this, but he's also getting older. So it's one of those that, like, I could see it happening for the positive, and I could see it happening for the negative, and we're just going to have to see what happens from here, because he definitely has been more of a 4-3 defensive lineman in his past. But yeah, Greenwood, they started hotter because they were 4-1-1, and things got worse from there. So we'll see. We draw a flag. What do we got? Of course, we got a hold. Dadgum Kindle Vildor, putting people on the island. Let's see, formation. We finally actually got our play arts that we can run through here. So let's go. Let's start out in the gun. I think the gun is where Nagy wants to start a lot of this offense, so it makes a lot of sense. We'll start inside zone off to this left-hand side. We got a 6-man box to run into, so I'm feeling pretty good about this as we're going to hand things off to... Oh, man, we got nothing. But, yeah, The whole hockey setup has been a wild one. I like this dagger concept, and it looks like against cover 2, which is what we've got, this should work. The idea here, in case you're wondering, is that Robinson and Sims should split the 2 cover 2 safeties and open up Mooney on that deep dig, unless they're in zone, which they are. So I'm going to give the ball to Robinson over here. Nice throw, Carr, and the Bears keep it moving. Let's go with an outside zone run here. I like it. Oh, man. Our offensive line is not getting much, which is a huge bummer because we just invested all that stuff in offensive line, but we'll need to give them time. For now, let's get an inside zone call going here. See if Montgomery can go get us some yardage. Get Cohen off the field. Not a lot. Not a lot, gonna be honest. So the running game is not helping us out, but we'll work with it. Let's see if we can get Kmet open on a tight end attack here, and if not, maybe Montgomery will squeeze loose. Oh, Montgomery.
That's caught by Montgomery. And able to get this one.
So on this kind of play, this is what I think is one of those that it makes football really interesting. And granted, I've run this play about 1 billion times in Madden, so this is one that I'm really comfortable with. But this is where I think Madden as a simulation tool can be really fun because people don't recognize quite what quarterbacks are looking at sometimes. In this case, I know that Cole Kmet here is running a route that has the ability to victimize a linebacker. And the linebacker that I have in mind is this one right here, because as he drops back, I want to know what he's going to do, whether he's going to follow Kmet. But so when Kmet moves and that linebacker takes those steps sideways, I know that Montgomery has a check and release route. So if I see him break past the line of scrimmage, that means that the Panthers didn't blitz, and he should be open because I know that number 87 here is going to carry that linebacker because the linebacker has to honor the deeper route as Kmet pulls this linebacker away from Montgomery. So Montgomery gets the ball there. He's got a neat little hole to cut up field from. Honestly, real life Montgomery probably gets more yardage than just that, and I'm able to pick up the first down. This is the kind of stuff the kinds of progressions that quarterbacks go through. It's simple stuff in Madden, but it's tough in real life, especially when you try to do it on the down-to-down level. But we get a first down out of it, and that's all we can ask for. I'm going to try to see if we can't keep running the ball a little bit. Partially because I know the fans will. Oh boy, I think I just called. Let's see. Reset the play back to where it was. Flip the action. Nah, we're just going to have to call it over because we're out of time. Oh, nice blocking. That works. Yeah, this is where things get real weird. Looking back, in terms of not just Madden, but also things get weird in terms of scheme. Because I know I am in the business at this point of trying to get this running game moving, and because I'm trying to get the running game moving, I want to call runs on basically all of our first downs so we know where we are. Let's go. No huddle, see if we can't break through this. But so this means that I am already being kind of predictable, if you haven't noticed, because every single time I get the chance, I'm running the ball on first down. Let's get that yard, guys. Yes, we did it. Moving forward. But so... let me see. Oh, man. Was that a good block or a poor block? Because I don't know which one you're talking about in this case. Let's see. I think Lance makes a lot of sense, HW. At this point, we're using the tight ends a lot, but I've got a whole lot of experience using them. Oh, man. We're just going to... Oh, man, they're going to hit me with a grounding penalty. That sucks. We can get it back. But that's not something that you want to see. So Derek Carr making a mistake on his own side of the field, and we're going to go to the gun and get those yards back. Darrisaw's the third tight end. That is a choice. Let's see if we can get... We'll start things out with a standard... Let's see what we got here. Tight end, or like a post isn't necessarily going to work. Level sail can... I think that can do something. Let's see. Oh, that's cool, JM. Okay, so they're dropping back into zone coverage. That should open up. Kmet, help me out, bud.
And I think that one might have been intercepted, but he will be ruled out of bounds.
Bummer. All right, let's go with dagger here and see if we can't set up a makeable 4th down. This one did well for us earlier, so we'll see what the Panthers do for as far as the game plan. They didn't change it much. That should open up Robinson. And it's fourth and 1, so let's do a quick running play. Come on, get the yards. Yes! There we go. I think, so HW, if we could do that, that'd be great. Or, like, I would work with that. But the problem is that I would expect that we'd want to use the 2021 first rounder. Oh, Enki, I did. You know I have to on that situation. Oh, come on, Daniels. I was hoping for a bit better block than that. But either way, we're moving the ball. And that works for us. So let's see. Trouble is, I don't think the Bears work out of the single back as much as it thinks they do. So we're going to go with a slant package here. See if we can get Mooney on that corner. And if not, we've got Robinson, our $20 million man. That'll do. Oh, what a sad drop. All right, so we've got 3rd and 6. Let's see. Double cross isn't always an interesting one. I like gun double stuff. I hate doing, or I'm making the promise to you guys that as best as I can, I'm not going to run the same play twice in a row. Otherwise, I just do the standard Madden hammer slants thing. But so, yeah, eventually I'm going to have to make that depth transition. We've got Robinson out on an island. As long as nobody drops into there, that's where I'm going with this ball. So that's where I'm going with this ball. First down. Sometimes you trust your big player, and that's exactly why we paid him. Straight up. I mean, that's the idea. So let's do something ridiculous. You know what? This is Matt Nagy, right? But so, because it's Matt Nagy, we're gonna do a quick split screen or slip screen. The difference being it works this time. Okay, so that makes sense. I may have to look into that. I didn't know that was a setting. That's actually pretty cool. But so, with that in mind, let's do an RPO. I'm curious to see if Mooney's going to beat his man, and if not, Cohen should be able to get this ball and hopefully get a nice little run with it. There we go. There we go. We're in. Touchdown. I'll take it. I'll take that right there. As soon as Mooney broke past that line, I had a feeling because I saw his guy didn't track with him, and at that point he just stuck his shoulder down and got us the score. Bears up 7-0. Works for me. Nice little drive. I mean, especially given that we ate an intentional grounding in the middle of it. I actually didn't expect that we would end up in the end zone, but we did, baby. We did. So that works for me. Now back to the defense. A nice 9-minute drive there. And it listed it as a turnover on downs. Good job. Madden's stat department is a little hit and miss, let's call it. I really do see that kind of stuff all the time. But so, let's see, stat projections for Jalen Johnson. And honestly, Enki, this depends a lot on whether Jalen's shoulder is in decent condition. I don't know, because after about week 6, he pretty much stopped playing press coverage, and I still don't really know why. I'm not trying to be some kind of weird conspiracy theorist here, but I am curious to know whether he's going to get surgery, because if he's not, he should be in better condition. Slim Jim, we're going to go for somewhere between 30 and 45 minutes, depending on how long certain things take. Probably finish this game out, and then we'll go ahead and save. But either way, go ahead and throw, at this point, I want to see, let's see, 2nd and 11. Let's go with a nickel blitz here. I like it, because I want to see if we can't create some pressure. I'm a big believer in simulated, or in schemed up pressure, so we'll see if we can't get something on Teddy, and we did. That works out great. So now on 3rd down, let's see, they're going to go 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. That's really interesting, if nothing else, because I would have anticipated a 3 wide receiver look. We'll go with a quick cover 3 buzz match, because we want to try to take away that deep part of the field. Case, after this, you know what? Let's do it. Here, if you're down, I'm down. We can go through a game from with the community. and then we'll close up shop. But so we've got ourselves a nice stop here, and now we just got to go 4-minute offense. See if we can't close this thing up 14-3 to go into the second half. And we've probably already drawn ourselves a holding call, which is a bummer because Tariq takes that ball up. A solid 20-yard gain right there. Oh well. I think a member game would be fun. But yeah, so let's see. We've got a 4-minute offense on our hands, and we're on our 30. Are you kidding? They got all the way there? Let's see. So I want to see if we can't get... Let's go play action. Why not? Why not? I like it. With play action right there, Kmet's going to break through, and look at him. That's open. Big first down. And yeah, I like that idea a whole doggone lot. But so yeah, here we go. We are moving the ball. I don't know why it always wants to put us in the single back. God, I just want to keep putting it on the shotgun. But that's partially because I really like the shotgun and what it can do for you. So here we are. We've got a little bit of time to kill. And let's... Oh, man. Oh, no. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Okay, so I hit RT to try to see if I could run out of a sack here. And, I tried to run out of a sack there, and instead Carr fumbled. So, not good. The defense comes right back on the field to try to make a stop. And that's just a nice reminder of what I've got to make sure not to do. But so, JM, primarily because I wanted to watch the games. And in a lot of cases, I'm doing different things during the games. But I do think that, that other thing, like, we can work more on trying to do, like, an end-of-season podcast or like, a post-game podcast, something like that, which I do at Windy City Gridiron. But have y'all ever heard, by the way, of an app called Locker Room for your phone? So, SB Nation's got me doing something with, doing a promotion with them. But what this means is that I'll be able to put out a couple of podcasts where I can actually talk to y'all. So in the middle of the games or of the podcast, kind of like a radio show, I can put y'all on as a caller, and you can answer a question, ask a question, anything in between. It's all there, which I think is cool. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely find me on Locker Room. Username is just Robert_Schmitz. And you'll be able to find me where I'll be doing a little bit of content here in the in the upcoming next couple of weeks. So just keep an eye out for that. I'll definitely, if you follow me on Twitter, or frankly if you follow me on YouTube, like you will hear about how to do it more as I figure it out. But outside of that, that's more the sort of thing that I'm looking at, because like you're talking about, Derek, I really try to make sure that I'm not necessarily, oh yeah, Roquan, that I'm not putting out anything nuts. Oh, Discord makes a lot of sense too. But so, Roquan with a big pick, by the way. Oh man, Nichols. Let's see, re-injury risk. Let's go ahead and sub him out for a little bit. But so we've got plenty of time, and now we're going to make this happen.
The Bears offense ready to go for their next drive.
All right, Derek, let's make up for that fumble. I wanted Robinson to get that space, and there we go. Now we're back up to the 49-yard line, which works for me. So 10 yards after catch, what a solid completion there. As you guys, what I don't think gets talked about enough, and maybe it does get talked about and I'm just not paying any attention, but I'll tell you what, playing a Madden game on stream is definitely hilarious, even in just the feelings that I have of just like, oh, don't screw up in front of the audience. That's JM, that's our Discord. So if you want to come through and hang out, you absolutely can. It's a whole lot of fun. It's a great way to keep engaging with the community, depending on what you're doing. Oh boy, not intended. Let's get P.A. Reed going. They've actually got Carr's voice kind of in the game, and I think that's funny. Great. Sack was not ideal. It's a good question, Trevor. Honestly, I'm not enough of a draft guy to really know. Let's see, I hate that formation, whatever it is we were doing there. Let's
working in sync right now.
Let's see, doubles offset. That's not bad. I think we can get something like double cross. That works. If I had to guess right now, who would I say our next quarterback will be? I really don't know. Like, I would love to pretend that there's some kind of gracious. Well, with or how many timeouts is that? Because we're about to punt it away. Thankfully, that sack doesn't really hurt us too much because we're still able to flip the field to functionally the same place given a touchback. But it's not ideal by any stretch of the imagination. So let's see. Yeah, I just got to bring him down there. Man. Okay, so back to the quarterback conversation. It could go in so many different directions. I do not know. Like, there's a huge part of me that wants to say, don't count out the Watson and Dak Prescott thing. But there's also part of me that says, yeah, but it's not going to happen, right? Like, we know that. And then there's another part of me that looks and says, okay, you know what? Like a guy like Gardner Minshew, a guy like Sam Darnold, a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo is always on the market. I think Garoppolo's a heavier favorite than meets the eye, by the way, given what could very well happen to him in San Francisco. The trouble is that I also don't think that that Garoppolo is a given, nor is he some huge upgrade. He's probably a little better than what we have, but again, without an offensive line, it just doesn't make near as big a difference as it doesn't make a difference, or as big a difference as some might think it would, just because Jimmy G's been to a Super Bowl. So is Jared Goff, and he just got, like, dumped down. Case, that was a typo and a half. That was a huge typo, and I think that's hilarious, because that really twisted the meaning. But so, anyways, now we're back on offense. Let's see if we can get things rolling. First down sacks are absolutely killing us, which is, you know, how they work. But let's get the ball into Mooney's hands. That's never a bad place to put it. Man, I'll tell you what, by the way, I thought 8-minute quarters was going to give us like a while. It's not that much. Let's go a curl combo, but then I want to... Oh, wow, I can't run the ball out of this. Let's just run this ball. Get down. Darnold or Garoppolo? That's a great question. I would have to know costs. That's where things get so complicated. I want to, like, stop the stream to just talk about this real fast. The really goofy thing about all this quarterback conversation is that it all comes down to cost. The best part about Dak Prescott, like if you asked me right now to weigh Deshaun Watson or Dak Prescott, it almost entirely comes down to what do I think is the value of 3 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks versus a whole lot of money on your salary cap. Because the best part about Dak is the fact that all you'd have to do is pay money for him. Now, there's a decent chance that Dallas is going to just franchise Dak, and the whole question falls by the wayside. But that's the point, right? Is a 5th rounder for Minshew better than a 3rd rounder for Darnold? Is Garoppolo getting cut by San Francisco coming to play to Chicago at $22 million better than Darnold for a 4th rounder? It's a good question. It's so weird, right? I think, JM, given the Bears' situation, if you told me that trading a 4th-round pick for Darnold meant that the Bears had the money to re-sign Allen Robinson, and therefore they did, whereas paying for Jimmy Garoppolo meant Darnell Mooney was the number 1 wide receiver, I'd probably go with Darnold. But that's the big question, right? It's all about cost. And it's where things get so complicated because is Derek Carr worth 2 first-round picks? Probably not. Is Derek Carr worth 1 first-round pick and a future 3rd? Now we're talking. It's such a complicated back and forth where you look at a lot of these players and you say, okay, I like that player, but would I pay that for him? And it's not always a sure thing. But anyways, back to our regularly scheduled Madden programming. We moved those chains, baby, as Derek Carr sprinted forward for a neat little bag of yards. Does that all make sense? That's the number one thing that I guess I wanted to talk about when it comes to quarterback, because there's part of me that would tell you guys straight up that if the Bears had the time, and they don't, with Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy in the situation that they're in, I think that it's all but guaranteed that they're going to be, it's all but guaranteed, in my opinion, that they're going to be, thank you so much, CFH, that's unbelievably kind of you, thank you so much. But so, if you, oh my gosh, I completely lost my train of thought because I'm working through, I'm trying to think about so much stuff. Try to grab it again. Oh yeah, quarterbacks are like, if you didn't pay for a quarterback and you just went with Foles for a season, and maybe you suck, or maybe you make the playoffs, but you invest a bunch in offensive line and receiver and so on and so forth, and hey, if you lose games, now you're up high in the draft, you draft the next guy, and if you win games, neat, you've proven the concept, now you make an added quarterback. You could do worse than that, but that's a move for guys who have a little more time than Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace do, which is part of why I expect them to try to make some kind of big splash in the quarterback market, but it's hard to know. So there you go. Bubble! It is super weird having Sims here. Let's put in, let's throw something in. Or, like, let's mess with the depth chart a little bit. And that's totally fair, Derek. We don't know. All we know, like, in the world of what we do know, we know that, that George McCaskey doesn't like the pressure that a lot of this stuff is under. But what does that really mean? Like, how much does that matter? That's a great question that, again, we don't have the answer to. So it will be curious to see what happens in terms of how all this stuff works out and just how things change going forward. Good question. Don't know the answers. And we'll have to see what happens from there. Let's see. I don't love the look that they're giving us with double cross, because I want Sims to be able... who am I kidding? Sims is going to get to the second level, and he should be able to make this work. There, off the break. I don't love throwing to just video game people that have no real reference, but we'll take it if it gets us points off the board. So now sitting here, we're at the 6-yard line. Let's pack it up in this single back and try to get some inside zone action here. I'll tell you what, Trevor, I am more impressed with Mac Jones. Yes, Monty! Boom! Boom! There we go. I tried to sub Sims out, Case, and he stayed in because he said, "Coach, put me in! Put me in!" But anyways, we got a touchdown for Montgomery. The Bears' offense is looking decent, stop-start, but either way, the throws are going where I want them to go, so that's always nice. Because if you caught my last Madden stream, that was a problem. The throw not going where I asked it to. So there we go. We've got some solid stuff there. And, yeah, apparently. But so, Derek, he's putting a smile on my face with the yards he's gaining. Gonna be totally candid there. But yeah, it will be interesting to see what happens with Mac Jones. I keep watching film, and every time I watch film, my opinion on Mac Jones changes a little bit. Like, at first I watch it and I say, hot dang, this guy's crazy accurate. And then I watch it and say, I don't know, maybe he's just a decent college quarterback. And then I watch it again and I say, you know what, his velocity is surprisingly decent. Like, I'm a little more impressed than I want to admit that I am. And then I look at him again and say, yeah, but he's just not that fast. Like, he doesn't have much mobility. What's he really going to do? So, Mac Jones is he's the guy who I look at and say, like, might be one of the biggest question marks. Not in terms of, most people are going to want to say Lance is the biggest question mark, and that's probably correct, because he could just, or Lance in particular could just explode in the NFL, but Jones is the guy where it's like, he might actually turn into a decent starter. The trouble is that he doesn't have, I'm going to throw out some really big names here. Jones does not have Peyton Manning's arm. He's got a decent arm, and it's very accurate accurate, but it's not the rocket that a lot of the old school pocket passers have had. So Jones pretty much has to be the next Brady, or maybe Breeze, or else he's going, obviously, to struggle more like the Gabberts and the other pocket passers that didn't materialize into much. It's very like hit or miss with not a ton of middle ground. Slim Jim, I became a Bears fan because my great-grandfather played for the Bears back in the day. Like, back in the, 40s, he played with George Halas, which was really cool. And I don't have, a ton of relics from there. That was just what he did. And so, even though I'm from Dallas, I have been a Bears fan all of my life. And it was funny because there was a time when I told myself that I was a Bears and a Cowboys fan. I keep that Cowboys pin up there for what do you call it? For basically as a niceness for my mom, a show of respect and love. But every time the Cowboys play the Bears, something bubbles up inside me, and I know exactly who I'm cheering for, and it's just funny every time that happens. Let's see what happens if we can drop into a man defense. We've got a lot of ground that we can cover here, so hopefully a man defense helps us to a missed tackle behind the line. That's what I want. And like you're saying, Pedro, you could. There is some truth to the idea that, Mac Jones, let me put it this way. When I look at all of the, potential quarterbacks, Case, I have a feeling for some reason you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. Almost as soon as you pick a hard and a fast rule for anything, especially when it comes to evaluating quarterbacks, you're going to end up getting burned somewhere. You can say, I don't ever trust an Alabama quarterback, and that may work for a little while, and then there's going to come along that one guy who is a trustworthy Alabama quarterback, and you're going to have your eyes closed because you made a rule that avoided A.J. McCarron and Tua Tagovailoa if he doesn't materialize. I don't think his film is that bad, though it's not top 5 pick good either. And exactly, Case. It's you end up with a hard and fast rule, and eventually somebody comes by, and Herbert, who in college really struggled at identifying various coverages, comes out in the NFL and just grows a lot. Josh Allen, for instance. I have never seen somebody fix their accuracy the way that Josh Allen did. Most quarterbacks that are inaccurate year 1 and inaccurate year 2 are inaccurate year 3. Shocker. And they're inaccurate for the rest of their career. Then along comes Josh Allen, who basically turns himself into an MVP candidate, and you say, what the heck, what do I do with this? I can't handle this kind of information. This breaks every mold that I have. And so maybe Mac Jones rises above that, but I don't think anything's a given by any sense of the imagination, and we'll just have to see what happens. All right, so it looks like we're going to pull Horsett across. Guys, this is the Mitch play. Look at that, the play action one. So we'll throw to the tight end. Take our 1 yard.
A lot of work to get away and outside of the pocket, but no actual yardage there on the catch. It's second down.
They keep giving me this game plan, and I don't like it, gonna be honest. But so that's the thing, Trevor. There's darn truth to the idea that a whole lot of there's a ton of truth to the idea that when you add good things around a player, shocker, they look a lot better in a hurry in many cases. But hey, there you go. And exactly. Let me see. Before Manziel was Texas A&M, Case. Not exactly the same, but similar. Let's see. That's got a verts package. I want stick will do. I just want to get Robinson on this pull across route because I think he can beat their corner. Sims is in again. Man, they're killing me on that right side. Let's see. 4th and 10, up 5 points. We're sitting at their 49. You know what? I'm going to go for it. Why not? It's Madden. And I think that our defense can live. So let's just get the right play call. We'll go with a slant action. Slant draws out the man coverage right here. This works. So let's see. Robinson. And he dropped it. Oh well. we will live. Thanks, Max. It's hard to tell for... man, Ian B, you're going to kill me for that. I didn't think it'd be remotely realistic if I actually took Zach Wilson in the second round. Like, great. I broke Madden now. But anyways, Max, so you talked about who do I want to be the Bears quarterback. If I told you I honestly don't know, is that a fair answer? I want to do a whole bunch of film work to figure that out. I can tell you guys that I'm starting to look through more and more film and actually come up with really, I would say, well put together opinions on people, but there's nobody that I've looked at yet and just like exploded necessarily. Because like I watched Carson Wentz. Let me give you a decent example. I watched a whole lot of Carson Wentz, for instance, and the more I watched of him, the more that I could see the talent. Like his arm is phenomenal and explosive and can do so much. But I also saw all the problems. Like, there were so many problems with what Carson was doing, and not all of them, if any of them, get just magically fixed. And so that was one of those where the more I thought about the idea of him coming here, I was like, almost anything that I could say, like, if the Bears traded for Wentz, could I tell you feasibly that it was a good deal? Maybe, but it was going to take some serious quarterback whispering to make Wentz good again, and I didn't know if that would happen. So that's one of those guys where, like, I wanted to put out a quick video on it, but honestly, if you haven't been able to figure it out, one thing that I get really... I probably spend too much time worrying about it, is that I want to make these videos like really, really good instead of quick. And I think that I could probably do a little more to just write something out, record it, and make it. Because as cool as it is when I put out a video, like a decent example would be my Foles video or my Quinn. Even though Quinn ended up a little off base. Those are videos where like they come together really well, the production value is solid, and that's great. But if you only get 2 of them in an offseason, that's not where I want it to be. So that's one of those, Pedro, like you're talking about. If we can get, or if we do some sort of a Foles competition, you could do a lot worse. I think, anyways. It could get a lot worse than just Foles. So let's get this offense moving. Hey, Audrey, by the way.
He created his own space as well.
On the return, it's Tariq Cohen. And they'll get him down inside.
Let's move this ball.
To 27.
The Bears take over first and
Right.
10 at their own 27.
I think quantity is everything. Or, no, not quantity. Whoa. Quality is everything. And that's the key. Let's see. Kmet needs to come through for me on this route right here. Tuck behind. Oh, great. Oh, man. They are killing us on that right side. Honestly, I need to call a timeout, which my select button doesn't work, so we got to call timeouts from the pause menu. But at this point, I got to get out of the single back. We got to go gun. Let's see if we can get something going off of the vertical concept here. It totally depends on the player, Max, in terms of like what I'd be willing to concept or to sacrifice in a trade situation. Where if it's for a guy like Watson, obviously a little more. If it's for a guy like Russell Wilson, or I'd probably sacrifice quite a bit. If it's for a guy like Derek Carr, less, but still a good, or I'd probably still give you a good chunk. And if it's for a guy like Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's obviously a free agent, but like if it's somebody who I think is, I don't want to use the word replaceable to. Oh yes, Robinson, thank you. Let's see. It should be 4th and short, but we need our. Let's see. Let's take this.
Yeah, a lot of people would call it a gutsy type of a throw. I think he looks at it as I can do it, so it's not that big of a deal to me, and I'm gonna keep firing.
That'll do. What's Robinson doing standing there? Did y'all see this? Sorry, could you tell I got focused? I got so quiet there. I've run that play on the end in the end zone a lot in my day in Madden, and it works really well because a lot of times the defense loads up to take stuff away. And like you're talking about, Case, referencing quantity over quality, I do think the quality is important. And if y'all know me at all, my quality standard is never going to truly fall. It's more to say, if I was going to put it into a phrase, it would be stop being a perfectionist and sometimes just be willing to put something out and let the community talk to me about it. As long as the work goes into it that makes it as accurate as I can possibly make it, that's the best I can do, and it's what I'm focused on. Let's see if Mooney can beat his man. Another option would be Allen Robinson. Mooney got him. That'll do. Easy stuff. And that's so funny because that's actually, this play is something that the Bears run all the time. Now, what's gotten really interesting, if you all noticed, is that Kmet is not making my life easy for me. I want him to, but Kmet's not coming open near as often as I would like. What this means is that I'm having to get a lot done with other players, especially with, let's see, I'm trying to get a lot done with my receivers, and they are only doing, I wouldn't say only doing so much, it's that you can only scheme up so many concepts for them. All right, Jesper Horsted, I need you here. See, looks like they're in a zone coverage setup. What is that route? I'll take it, though. That'll do. But, you know, it's so funny, Case. The green screen videos are easy. They are. Like, I just stand in front, and then I go boom, boom, and throw it in a green screen. And at that point, if you haven't noticed, most of the stuff ends up being me standing in front of a spinning logo, which is fine, because it seems like a studio, but it plays out in terms of the editing process, where I can tend to put those out a lot faster than things where I need little 5-second to 10-second NFL clips in this part, and that part too, and that part too. The video making process is really interesting, but either way, I'm being really casual about the fact that, and thank you, Max, being really casual about the fact that we've got 2 minutes left, we are at the 12, and so we've got a weird situation in front of us where I actually think we want to kill some clock as we slowly grind our way to the end zone and try to convert on a touchdown very, very late in the game. I almost never see this in the NFL, by the way, and this is something that always surprises me because I think this makes all the sense in the world, that you want to just slowly push your way down the field, very, very, very slowly, as you, like, especially at the very, very end of the game, try to score at the last possible second. Sometimes we see it, but sometimes, especially when a team's down a little bit, like we are right now, technically down 3, a lot of teams won't call their timeouts. And hey, I'll take advantage of Madden's blunder if that's a blunder they want to make. We're going to see if we can. Yes, that's exactly where we wanted to be. But so, with us going down at the 1, we should be able to kill this down to about 40 seconds. Pedro, I'm trying. This is keeping my my brain going like crazy. And JM, you're exactly right. Some people just want to get the score, and they'll worry about the time when they have time to worry about the time, which is not now. And I completely get that attitude. I mean, scoring is stressful, but this is one of those moments where I look at it, and it's not just Monty, that we're relying here on Leno, Daniels, and Whitehair, and I don't even know if I want them to get the yard, but if they do, we'll take it. We got a flag. That better not be something huge. Face mask! Yes! Never been so excited to see it. All right, so, yeah, we absolutely want to accept that. We're going to be at the nothing yard line. So here, I'm actually going to call one of my favorite audibles, which is we're going to go tight end drive. This is going to pull Jesper Horsted across. We're going to pull Jesper Horsted across the end line, and I don't think anybody's going to pick him up. So as long as Carr drops back, he ends up free, and he went backwards. It's not what I needed, man. Jesper, you're supposed to go forward. You're supposed to catch that ball and fall into the end zone. So with that in mind, let's see what the offensive line, or what the D looks like. I just want to get the touchdown now, Case. I can't run all that and botch. We're in! We're in! We're in! We did it! Yes! Pog, pog, pog. That's it! All right, so the Bears are winning. They got 23 seconds. Yes, this works great. Awesome. All right, so Derek Carr hands it to Monty for his second touchdown of the game, if memory serves, and the Bears have a 3-point lead as Randy Bullock lines up for the point after, and the point after is good. Boom. That's it, guys. That's it. That's it right there. All right, 23. The Bears are 23 seconds away from their second win of the season, which is ideal. And it doesn't matter if it's just the Panthers. I care. All right, so we're going to send this thing off. Sloman put that thing real deep. Frankly, I should have probably air kicked it. All right, so I know nobody likes it, but every time I've not played prevent defense, I get roasted. So in this specific case, I'm going to probably run prevent and see if I can force the touchdown appropriately. 7 yards. There we go. Audrey, great seeing you. We'll catch you in the next one. All right, so they've got one timeout, or they've got 2 timeouts left. I know, right? Has Chris Conti time. I just like the fact that one thing that's been super fun, by the way, as I've gotten more and more and more into streaming, has been figuring out like all this stream overlay stuff. You will see me, and so one thing that I talked about a while ago that I feel like I just want to add in. We did it, guys! We did it! We did it! Bears are gonna win this game! Y'all, I can't even explain. When I went down, I was keeping it real cool because I was like, gonna lose. It's gonna be just like last time. I'm gonna lose right on stream. But right here, we did it. We did it. We're actually gonna win this game. I'm so excited. Anyways, if you want to follow my Twitch channel, if stuff that I do in random moments interests you, and if it's not, it doesn't hurt my feelings. I love that you're here for my football content, absolutely. But a friend of mine and I are pushing for a couple of like speedrun records in one of the newly released Mario games, which again, just goofy stuff. And if you want to see me play other things, I can do that too. Gaming is something that I tend to do for fun, but it's one of those where if that's interesting, definitely follow my Twitch. There's going to be some stuff that I'm going to do there that won't make it to YouTube, but for now, we are stoked to, what is it? Isn't it, let's see, you have the dub right here. Oh, you just eat it? Eat the dough. Ah! As we go, or we did it. There's Monty, there's Christensen. Looks like there's Mooney, Christensen, Monty, Roquan. Oh yeah, like we are rocking and rolling. We got 241 passing yards and 58 rushing yards. Standard, but we'll do it. And on Wednesday, we would be right about to blow up. And yeah, exactly. That's exactly right, Derek. Where right after this narrow win over the Panthers, they're going to say, oh, well, the Derek Carr mirage is open. He had, what is this? Yeah, Derek Carr, 1 touchdown and a fumble. He sucks. So he had 40 yards and sacks. You better believe that I would be breaking that down on Wednesday night as we would get into it. Let's see, 75% completion percentage, 22 for 29, secretly bad, am I right? But either way, Bears at this point are 2-0 as we're waiting on a couple of rookies to really blossom. Taking a lot of pressure here from the right edge, but we'll live with it. Case, if you're still around, I'm definitely down to follow through, to make good on that promise, and to try to take you on in Madden. But let's see. Oh man, I would love to in terms of trying to beat or like check who simulated Gruden. Let's see. So let's get a little bit of power going on Darrison or on Slater here to see if we can't move him up a little bit. But so Roquan got another upgrade point. Now that's what I'm talking about. Got to get that pass coverage. He's a 90. Yeah. But so let's see. For the rest of it, we will just go ahead and sim the upgrade. And then, does it save automatically? Do I have to hit a save button? But stick around, y'all, for one more game, as we will do a real thing. We're going to do member games. I like the idea. If you are a YouTube member, at the end of one of the Saturday streams, I'll take on a community member if you want it and dive in. And in this case, it's going to be Case Master, who have been promising a game for quite some time. I would assume it would save with every game. Elon, we're right about to do that. So let's dive into it. Let me see. How do I check the... Oh, hooray, Mutt. Let's see. Social, EA tracks, news, settings. Oh, gosh. There's got to be something here. There's got to be a way that I can do this. Let me go to Origin and Friends. Bang. There we go. That should be done now. Yeah, Elon. So I hit this point where I got a haircut, and then my beard was still like way out to here, and I thought to myself, it's gotta go. So I shaved. Hooray, thank you. But so anyways, let's dive in. Let's hit up a member game. So do I accept an invite, Case? I'm pretty stupid about this. Cool, if you're going to set it up, I'm going to leave it to you for just a second. Y'all, I will be right back. I'm going to use the restroom. All right, here we go. Here we go. Let's do this. It is me versus a member, and I'm ready to lose. So, did it pop up yet? Did I miss something? Or do I need to go somewhere? Here is the weekly Cosmo appearance, by the way. Come here, cat. Come here. Cosmo showed up at my feet, and I thought to myself, well, gotta give him some love. He's been very sleepy since it got really cold, which is understandable. But yeah. Case. Where do I need to go? Is it an exhibition thing? Online head-to-head. That could very well be what I'm looking for. Let's see. Play a friend. This has to work. This has to be it. Let's do 8 minutes. Send the game invite. Case, let me know if you're there. All right, question becomes, anybody in the chat got any preferences on, like, should I be the Bears? It makes sense. I just assume since we're all Bears fans here, do we want to set the Bears off limits? What do y'all want to do? I'm open to anything. Bears make sense. I can play the Bears. Case, you should have an Origin invite of some kind. ENB, that's a good question. It's always a good question. I mean, for crying out loud, I reached on almost all of my draft picks. So there you go. A cat theme team. What would we do for cat theme team? It's a good question. I mean, like, you'd think that you need fast receivers. Like, had y'all all seen that video that went around a while ago of the cat at the Cowboys game? If I said that, do y'all know what I'm talking about? Because I remember there was a cat that just like ran around in the middle of one of them. The Panthers makes a lot of sense. I completely get what you're saying. Let's see. It all depends on how good Case is, which, heck, I don't know. Case, I think I've sent you the invite. I set it to 8 minutes. Is 8 minutes too long? Because I can shorten that. But 6 minutes always feels perfect. I think 8 minutes works. 6 minutes always feels a bit on the short side to me, whereas 8 minutes helps both teams get 2 drives if nothing goes wrong. Either way, for those that are dropping in and out, always awesome getting the chance to talk to y'all. Chances are after this, I'm going to try to take a look at just a sneak preview for those of you who are still here. I am probably going to be taking a look. So one of my themes that I'm going to be doing this off season is that I want to do some videos that are forward looking, like, hey, here's a potential new addition, or like a great example would be a breakdown of Gardner Minshew. But then I also want to do some stuff that looks backwards. An example would be studs and duds, and other things like that. And somebody in particular that I definitely want to take a look at is Darnell Mooney, because, like, okay, we know he's good, but, like, how good? And what are his limits? And where did he impress? What does he need to improve on? All the above is going to be super fun to take a look at, and I can't wait to see what I'm able to put together about that, because a lot of the players that we can focus on are really, really awesome, and I'm terrified. I do want to put together something about, let's see, if I get to be home, the question becomes, guys, by the way, not to break away from what I was saying, yes, that's what I want. That's my default uniform. You better believe it. All right. So, does this mean, Case, that we are bidding adieu to Matthew Stafford in this game, by the way? Because with Matthew Stafford with Matthew Stafford now having been traded, this is like our swan song to Stafford as a Lion. But so, anyways, back to video creation. I should be able to put some cool things together in terms of that, like, green screen studio, and then I should be able to put some other cool things like the Mooney, and any breakdown really sticks to others. Like, many of those, I'm just gonna do like a general voiceover is what I'm looking for. But either way, it should be fun to try to put stuff together. And hey, you know what? If we blow up the channel, awesome. And if we don't, that's great.
And they're going to mark that where it went out of bounds. So really good starting field position up past the 40-yard line.
Okay, Case. I've spotted you that. Let's do this. Oh, that hurt. Anyways, let me take I will in just a little bit. My mic is, oh boy, there we go.
And very little daylight there. He'll get a couple up to the 44.
Let's get this moving.
Because if they can't,
all right, can you hear me okay?
get low, almost get into a ball sometimes.
Perfect.
Stack things up
all right,
and
what
make
you
it difficult
got?
for the runner
Here
to
we
find a
go.
hole.
And let's see. You may actually be on, or like audio-wise on stream, but if Case Screen watches, the hope, guys, will be that I'm able to overcome it. But hey, we'll see. Either way, Madden.
No, that's the goal of jumping in this, so I don't have to have the chat up to talk to you.
Yes, that makes tons of sense. Perfect. Let me know, by the way, y'all, if you can hear Case, because I can, and I have no idea if it's wired to come through, but it should be, because anything that comes out of the computer should be going through the stream, but heck, I don't know. And see, that's why we traded him. That's why we traded Fuller. I'm kidding. But nice throw.
I love
there.
Kenny Galladay. I really think he's an underrated player. And I hope that they pay him for the sake of the Lions, but also I hope they don't for the sake of the Bears.
The scary thing about, like, Galladay that I keep looking at is that Galladay makes tons of sense to me as the exact player where Bears fans will look and say, why would we keep A-Rob when we can get Kenny Galladay for like $4 million less per year? Same player, right? And I'm like, I like Kenny Galladay a lot. I like Kenny Galladay a lot, but anybody asking to just casually come in and replace A-Rob is going to have some massive shoes to fill, and that feels like disappointment just waiting to happen. Because like you're saying, I think he's a really, really good player, but I think he's the low end of the like wide receiver one chain. You know what I'm saying? Like between that 15 and 25 region, still a very good wide receiver. Very good, but maybe not like the elite level just yet, and maybe never, but who knows.
I think he's a hard one to judge for a contract because of his age, right?
Yep.
Like Allen Robinson, you know, he's at 28. Whatever contract he signs is probably going to be his last contract from here on.
Yep. Nice drive.
Where Galladay probably still has 2 more contracts left on him. So it's a hard one to judge with how you pay him, because do you pay him for what you project his future to be, or do you pay him for what he is right now? I love the offensive lineman.
It was as soon as I saw Chase Daniel rolling out to my left that I knew I'd been had. I was like, and they got Daniel in there. Dang it. He's going to be fine.
Yeah, I had to give Chase Daniel one play.
Right. That one's just back to... You know what's funny? So, if you've noticed, Case, I have no idea if you watched the season kickoff video. And yes, thank you, Elon, for the correction there. But so, if you watched it, one thing you'll notice is that every chance I can get to throw in the Ryan Pace, like, clip of him at the 2019 Week 11 Rams game, like when it was the moment that Case had, or not Case, so sorry, it was the moment that Nagy took Trubisky out of the game for an injury that we only heard of like weeks later. They cut to Pace, and he's just looking really sad. And so I just watched more Chase Daniel footage because I had to go get the clip, and that made me giggle. Let's see how you handle Trubisky on the move.
Oh God, you're playing Trubisky.
Mitch, no! Mitch, no! Mitch, no! Mitch, no! That ball kicked so hard.
It was the most Trubisky play.
Mitch, no!
Oh man,
that's hilarious. Alright, so let's see.
That was awesome.
Man, I'm glad I beat the CPU, because at this point I'm digging myself a hole. It is hilarious. Yeah?
Well, I was going to say, Madden, for whatever reason, just absolutely hates the Bears and pretty much puts a curse on them to where they can't make good plays in the game. I have no idea why.
I mean, it sounds so silly, but when I saw that I had the opportunity to trade Fuller in a third for Carr, I was like, done. At least Madden's not going to hate him. Because I remember playing that Packers game a little earlier this year, and just like, I was like, okay, throw the slant route. And Mitch just throws it to the other side of the field. And I'm like, what is this? Derek, it's really just, it's a hustling job. That's all we're doing here. Slim Jim, how have you done it? Oh, Fuller. Nice.
I am honestly surprised Fuller didn't make that play.
I'm a little sad he didn't. But let's see. Man, you're mixing up your offense really, really well. I mean, granted, defense in Madden sometimes feels a little weird, let's just say, because sure, you can get some edge rush pressure, but man, Madden receivers are crazy good at generating separation. But in that case,
It's kind of weird the way that Madden handles things. Like sometimes it feels like the offense has the complete upper hand, but sometimes it feels like you just can't do anything on offense.
Yes, it is weird
Like,
where you're
there
like,
is no like in between where it just feels like you just have a hard time. It feels like it's either you're gonna have a really easy time or you're just never gonna do anything.
right. I mean, I remember, what was it, like, I was in a Madden tournament where I'd, like, downloaded EA Access or whatever for, like, a very short little bit so that I could participate, and I was playing with the Eagles, and I was normally just smoking people. I'm fine with this. Get it. I'll take the yards. Come on, Houston Carson.
Yes!
No way. No way! Did he not go for it at all?
It's a glitch in the game.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, if you don't come out in the onside defense, it'll immediately make them run away.
Are you kidding me? There's so many of those in this game. Like, part of me wonders whether they just bug tested it and went, nah, it's fine. So these member games are going to be more like Slaughter Rob on stream, and I'm fine with it. Like, if you think I haven't taken my fair share of gamer beatings, you're wrong. But I will put together a game plan here. This is the.
I have no idea how this is gonna go.
These really are the Lions that are like, what is it? They'll take a bite out of you, and then you'll push them back down, and they'll take another bite out of you. And what was it? That presser was something.
No. Why was that play designed to have Matthew Stafford as the lead blocker?
Is this where I blame Matt Nagy?
We walked over the other sideline for a play.
Right. And Max, if you're still here,
I'm just trusting Danny. Oh no.
Please tell me I didn't get a flag. Yes, we're stoked. Pog. But so, Matt, if you're still here, if there's one thing that does make me just really curious about what will happen, I'll tell you one thing that drives me nuts about this last season in general is that we went into it with Jermaine Ifedi as like the solution at right guard with Rashad Coward. Yes. As OL6, and I've talked about that before. This isn't new to anybody, but I throw this out there again because I do get legitimately curious. Let's say, for instance, the Bears trade for Case, pick somebody, Garoppolo or better.
Well, let's go with Garoppolo.
Sure. Let's say that the Bears trade for Garoppolo.
I think that's one of the more realistic trades that we can pull off.
I think so. And frankly, let's say it's not even a trade. Let's say San Francisco gets their feet held to the fire, and because of that, yes! Big stop by the special teams! But so, let's say that the Bears, they don't even, like, San Francisco gets their feet held to the fire, and because of that, they cut Garoppolo, and the Bears sign him at, like, market value. Let's say it's like $20 million, right? So nothing crazy. And then in the offseason, the Bears follow that up. You knew what I was doing. You did the Lions thing. You just covered Allen Robinson. But so with that in mind, let's say, Derek, to your point, that then the Bears, they sign Jimmy Garoppolo, but they also invest a whole lot, are you kidding, in the offensive line. And so,
what I mean by how the Bears are cursed.
Man, this is rough. But so they invest a bunch in the offensive line and they get Jimmy G. And then suddenly the offense comes alive. Let's say, like all that stuff that people like me, I'll even use the word idiots like me, are saying that's even remotely positive about the Matt Nagy offense, like it actually comes to life a little bit and things start working out and the offense starts clicking. And I'm not saying they suddenly turn into, everybody always takes that and they're like, oh, a top 12 offense? Let's say it's like 14th. They look decent. They look alive. And suddenly people would look back and they'd say, see, this is what happens when you get a quarterback like Jimmy G. The offense really comes together. Maybe this is what we needed. And honest to goodness, I really think, to your point, Max, offensive line upgrades can make all the difference. I'm legitimately curious to know what either Mitch or Nick Foles would look like if the Bears invested a bunch at offensive line inside of this own offense. And I think that both players have major flaws. I'm not trying to be blind to any of that, but man, you look at a lot of the best players in the... You're kidding me. You're kidding me.
If you're actually watching the Bears offense.
Are you kidding? Well, no, that'd be Cole Kmet if he fumbled.
Oh, man.
Run really hard. But anyways, like you're saying, I mean, investment at offensive line makes a huge difference when you look at a bunch of these guys who are really playing good football. I mean, and Drew Brees is a decent example, right? Elon, I can't control that fumble. You take that back. I didn't do anything wrong. But anyways, it's interesting to just ask the question even of like what would things look like if the Bears had an offensive line that could create a bit of a running game. I mean, to whether you want to call it Nagy's credit or not, there are a whole bunch of these situations, especially in the Saints game, where Case, if you saw what I did, like I saw the Bears generate opportunities for like 5-on-4 blocking, and then they lost the run play anyways. And it's like
all season.
You can't fix that with scheme. Like people could. You're kidding. People can whine about scheme, and as they should. There's a lot of complaints with scheme, and there's so many execution errors that we highlighted all season long. But and like you're saying, Max, there are tons of situations where you end up with these play calls that are just like,
sure about press?
What?
Sure about press?
You've intimidated me. And I'm glad you did. Get that user pick.
Oh,
yes.
man, Kyle Fuller got that.
Finally. Oh. He got tossed. I thought he was going to fumble. All right, so let's see if we can get... I'm going to hit you. I'm going to tell you right now, Case, I'm hitting you with the secret weapon.
All right, so double man coverage on Kmet. Got it.
The secret weapon is Trubisky's legs. No!
Corner blitz.
But we'll see what happens. My genuine hope is that the Bears invest a lot in oh boy.
That might actually work that time. But I think it's also because you're blocking 9 people.
We got that offensive line going. Come on, please. Graham, make the play. No! So close. Had it in his hands. People would be mad online. But so... Yeah, they're legs, Derek. But so, Max, I'm intrigued by Desai. I'm not about to tell you that I think Desai is some kind of amazing defensive coordinator ready to happen, but I also am going to look I've been saying for, I mean, at least a little bit, that I thought Pagano's gotten a whole lot of heat for the fact that the Bears' talent pool kind of fell apart a little bit. Again, I really like Akeem Hicks, especially in 2018, but I think I like Hicks, and I hope this makes sense. I like Hicks because of what he was more than I like him because of what he is. And I think that's allowed with some players. I mean, there were some people, and there was nothing wrong with this back in... Gosh, Case, how long have you been a Bears fan?
Forever.
How long is that, roughly? I'm running on about 14 years.
I've been watching football since 2009.
2009. So do you remember the uproar in like 2014 when Brian Urlacher didn't get that like extra contract as a 38-year-old man or whatever it was as like a middle linebacker? When you could tell there was just about no juice left in his legs, but Bears fans were like, how are we not offering the guy a contract? He's Brian Urlacher. I feel like we're kind of hitting the same spot with Hicks, and it's a little faster than we thought it was going to come. But, I mean, there are some of these games where I remember looking back, and I've seen it again as I go back through, where it's like, ooh, Hicks, you're not in your gap. Ooh, Hicks, that's not great. And I'm not trying to hate on the guy. It's more that in 2018, Akeem Hicks didn't get enough credit for being an almost Aaron Donald level defensive tackle, and he's not quite matching that. And that happens in the NFL, which sucks. So maybe he can rekindle it. Who knows? But, oh my word.
Oh, he actually came down with it. It was an arm punt.
Well, the worst part is, I think I'm going to lose yardage in the net.
Yep.
Could have gotten it at the 17. But no worries. I can talk to you later, Max. Now let's see. Derek, can we do it? Do you have faith? It's all about the second half Lions killing.
After the interception, here's Trubisky.
We got the ball out. Step one.
That was nice work there defensively to force incompletion.
I'm bad on defense purely because of the fact that I try to call man coverage. However, against what you seem to do, man coverage works perfectly.
Well, yeah. Most of what I do is play zone and play against zone. Come on. There we go. That was a straight up jump ball. I was like,
That's what you pay Allen Robinson for, though, right there.
This is not great football, but this is what I'm doing. I feel like I'm being reduced to ash. But let's see here. Gotta let the clock wind down at... Yes. No! Why is that RPO so slow?
You're running way too much 3 tight end.
I know. Well, you'd be... Okay, so you've used the Bears plenty. Why is their, like, single back setup so loaded? I thought we were shotgun offense.
To be honest, I have no idea. I mean, I know why. It's because of the fact that Madden has no sense of realism in the way that it calls plays or structures things. It's more so just kind of like, okay, so this is a West Coast offense, so we'll give them that playbook. Like,
Right.
I feel like the Bears playbook is based heavily off the Shanahan playbook.
Honestly, I think that one thing that I think is so funny, that it's the story that's not being told, is that the more I keep watching the Bears, the more I keep watching Matt Nagy throw in, concepts from everything. We switched from Shanahan in week 1 to McVay by week 9. And a lot of that was there the whole time, especially with Mitch, where it really did seem as if, great. We're happy about the 6. It really seemed as if the Bears saw the Bears saw Mitch's limitations and said, we're running the McVay offense with him. And then, man, the part that is going to bother me until we see it again is that when Foles came in, there were pieces of it that were good. I mean, the Bears could have put up 37 points against Tampa Bay, which I sound like such a bleeding an animal every time I say it, but they were on the field, and that's shocking because we're the Bears and we shouldn't do that. But then, oh my word, against the Rams and whatnot.
I'm so confused as to what just happened in the middle of the field there.
What?
It looks like my guys ran into each other or something, but they both ran the same route.
and you still got a completion. It's really interesting to know, or to ask myself, what in the world happened with Foles and the rest of the offense against the Rams and the Titans and whatnot? Because I don't know, but there's got to be an answer, some kind of an answer, even if it's not one that we necessarily love. Ooh, you got that timeout tucked in there. Either way, the Bears definitely need some investment in offensive line. It's why I threw two picks in there on the first stream, as I was like, who am I kidding? This is what I'm yelling about. Might as well do it. And then, of course, Madden goes, they're reaches. I'm like, great. Great.
Oh, man.
And the worst part is it's not even Madden. It's some guy who put together a roster thing, right? He's telling me they're reaches. It's hilarious.
I'm still always going to stand by. I think that the first thing that we need to try to replace is either Bobby Massey / Charles Leno, whoever we can find, whether it's a left tackle or right tackle.
I completely agree. You have to replace one of them.
And then the second thing to replace is Akeem Hicks, because as you mentioned, Akeem Hicks is absolutely amazing. I mean, he was still amazing this year. He was absolutely stunning this year.
Especially because the guy's
top 8 at his position, no questions asked, right?
Especially because the Bears didn't have another one on the roster. The space-eating defensive tackle, well, technically they had Goldman, which is true, but they didn't have him in like dressed and ready. So that meant that if you threw out John Jenkins, Akeem Hicks looks like the starter. John Jenkins is not. But then you compare him to other stuff in the. Oh boy, you're going press. Let's see, what can we do here? Let's run this. I bet Case will never see it coming. Yes! Cole Kmet, 4th down hero, and then you lit him up.
Good. You had Robinson deep, but I respect throwing it shallow because you have Nick under center.
Yes, that's exactly what I thought. I was like, not on 4th down. Elon, and the factor, just to throw something out there, like, you talked about how Foles started to stare at pressure, and you couldn't be more accurate. I mean, especially in the back half of the... Yes! Yes, go Cole! Go Cole! You peeled off, and I'm okay with it. Why in the world is it not one of the default celebrations case to do the thing where the player runs through the back of the end zone and chucks the ball just somewhere as hard as they can against the wall? That's my favorite celebration in football. I still remember, oh man, that how many times, or what is that like one video that you go back in the NFL and just watch over and over? Because the one for me is that absolutely nutty Deshaun Jackson miracle at the Meadowlands 2.0, where he drops the punt and then runs it back. That's the one I keep going back to.
It was always a really fun play.
Which one's yours? Do you have one?
I don't know if I really would say I have one, to be honest.
That's okay.
I think. I don't know. I've always been, because I was born in Illinois, raised in here, but then I grew up in the state of Maine, and so I was always a Patriots fan when I was growing up too. So I got really lucky with that sense. So for me, it's a lot of Patriots plays, and like one of them that I do always think of is Amendola back of the end zone against the Jags, right? To complete that comeback. And like it wasn't even that it was a great play or anything like particular, but just what it meant and what it ultimately led to. But then of course, we know how that season ended up being. And so, but that play is always one that always comes to my mind with that. And of course, Julian Edelman in the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, Julian Edelman in the Super Bowl, the Falcons one, right?
Yeah,
nutty, just absolutely crazy.
Play. That one always jumps to my mind as well. Whenever it's like, what's a crazy play that you can't believe you saw?
One video, by the way, for some reason, now that we're talking about singular plays, if there's a video that I want to do, that it's going to sound weird because it actually combines... Look at Matthew Stafford just crushing people. If there's a play that I want or a play I want to look at, would you believe, y'all, that it's... So I want to do a video that compares the Dez Bryant...
Let's try this.
Do it. I want to compare the Dez Bryant catch that was not, like the Dez caught it moment, as everybody knows it in Dallas, and talk about how when it comes to NFL officiating, if there's one thing that's gotten just really annoying, it's that the NFL is so slow to address changes that they'll basically allow a problem to happen in the red zone, or not the red zone, in the regular season, and then it'll show up in the playoffs and punish people. Because if you remember, Case, the Dez caught it moment was basically a challenge on what is and isn't a catch, which they could have solved. Look at that.
A punter just threw a touchdown.
The NFL could have solved it, though, during the regular season when the Bears and Lions game had that Megatron catch. Do you remember the one I'm talking about? Oh man, if you'd remember it, where it was the very end of the game and the Lions threw up what amounted to a one-man Hail Mary, and Calvin Johnson came down with a game-winning touchdown, rolled over and left the ball on the ground. They called it no catch, but he had placed it on the ground. Like he leapt up in the air,
okay.
caught it,
I do remember that one now.
And just sat the ball down on the ground very nicely. They called it no catch. Or Akusai, I could have sworn, yeah, exactly. That's the one where he caught it. Then I remember him leaving it on the ground. I need to go back and watch it again. But like you're saying, he caught it, then did something with it, and they said he didn't complete the process. The Bears won. And, oh boy, okay, connection issues. I'm really just throwing my lag switch on, trying to win. Bam, lag switch.
I mean, hey,
that's what it's all about.
do what you gotta do.
You gotta make those plays. But so let's do this. Sometimes we throw the double cover Mitch shot, and sometimes
There's always gotta be one every game. It almost worked.
Mitch is 100. Or I'll tell you what Twitter thinks. We're 10 for 18, or 10 for 18 with a touchdown. This isn't Mitch's fault. This is the defense. See, look at the pressure. How could anybody deal with this? Or not 10 for 18, 10 for 16. It's not Mitch. And actually, in this game, it's not. Sometimes you go back to the well.
So of the 11 completions, Al Robinson has what? 10 of them?
Most of them.
Really, only 3. I feel like we've only thrown to him.
Here comes a one-man route. I didn't even know they had these in the playbook.
Thank you. No, that one was a mid-throw.
Derek, you're right. Twitter would be saying it's 100% the OL's fault and Nagy, but I love that one. Do we really, Elon? Do we want some Javon Wims action? Is that things we cheer for? But either way, that's something that I would love to cover because I mean, especially with what's going on with the holding thing this last year, I'm really curious to know what the NFL is going to do. Like, if they're going to redefine holding, if they're going to not do anything and just kind of keep quiet about it, because it was real weird to watch that this year, and only the teams that didn't make the playoffs care, TBH, because most of the teams that are I think most of the teams that are like defensive oriented ended up out of it, like Denver, the Bears. I like it. It better be real. Yes, Jackson. No, Jackson. Almost had it.
So the punter has a touchdown and an incompletion now.
Well, obviously you gotta, if you're gonna do punt on first down, chances are you're gonna do punt on second down. So I've got to line up in the block. He actually did. How is the commentator calling that it's a fake off the snap?
Yeah, right.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
He just has a time machine, he's
oh my gosh, we've seen it all! And I'm like, hey, what? He hasn't faked it yet.
What the heck is this? A punt formation from the red zone?
Let's see. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna make a couple of depth chart changes. Feel free to do the same because let's get wild with this. All right.
I'm down.
Let's see.
All right. So David Blau is now the quarterback.
How am I not able to put Mack in at running back?
Oh yes, Adrian Peterson. I forgot about him.
You used to be able to put just about anybody that had a pulse in at wide receiver. I remember back in the day, I used to, just for you, Ian B, it's got to happen. Where is he? Bray's not on the roster. Tyler Bray isn't there.
yeah, he doesn't exist in Madden. Tyler Bray's not a thing in Madden. He just doesn't exist.
How is he not a thing? He's the best quarterback the Bears have ever had. All right, we've got a Ryan Nall feature back. I remember I used to throw up tons of whenever I wanted to really style on my younger brother. I'd put.
This team's got Everson Griffin.
I put Peanut Tillman in at wide receiver and throw touchdowns to him, and that was when my brother knew it was over.
Well, I mean, I can put my fullback at linebacker, so let's try that.
Well, I understand that a player can't start twice on offense. That's why. All right, let's see if this works.
Oh, wait. So Justin Coleman got a pick, but he's not on the depth chart.
That doesn't make any sense.
Hold on, is he slot? Oh, he might be the slot corner. Because you got to remember that there's there's the specialist position.
I have a new tight end, and you're never going to see him coming.
Oh, wait a minute. I gotta go cheese here. Hold on.
They can't.
Oh, they don't have anyone fast.
That's it. You're 100% right. They can't accurately rate him. That's why Tyler Bray's not in there. I mean, hey, with all his practice squad protections, you got to think that's the case. All right, I'm ready to go. I ended up not making near as many changes as I wanted to because I wanted to put a whole bunch of defensive players on offense, but I can't. All right, instead,
I know that in franchise you can put a quarterback.
I want you to just watch the guy rumbling over the middle.
This is a fullback over here.
Come on! Come on!
Coming to attack you.
No! It was right there, Charles!
I'm gonna get a sack with my fullback. It's gonna happen. Get over here.
Yes! Feature player.
I love that he didn't fumble either.
I love it. Carrying the ball like a bread basket.
I wonder what his carrying reading is. It's gotta be like... I wonder if Bobby Massey has like a 70 catching because he caught that one pass.
Come on, Charles. Come on. Get that separation.
Well, that was weird.
That was. Alright, now I'm going to pull him across the formation. At some point, I do need to try to use him as a lead blocker. But why? Why do sensible things?
Because my fullback is a down lineman.
Come on, baby. Alright, let's see. We got a third down on our hands. In all reality, at this point, I'm going to see what I can convert with.
It's time for the best defense in the league.
There. So, one thing that I see the NFL, I don't know why they don't use it more, if I could be completely honest with you. I feel like dig routes are just so good, it's a little insane. And, and I don't understand, it's not just a Madden thing either. It's just a make life easier for your quarterback thing. Come on, there we go. And that wasn't a dig route. Just so that we're all clear, a dig route looks much more like what I'm about to.
A dig in Madden would be classified as in or out.
Right, and that's what most of them are. In fact, most of the dig routes that I've seen in playbooks involve actually like a dig in, and it's considered. I don't even remember what it's called. If it's like a 15-yard out route, maybe they just call it an out. Well, I can't find a dig, so instead I'm just gonna have to throw a touchdown.
I mean, you can audible one.
Yeah, but wow. That's a curse. What was it? Was it too tall for him? Was it too tall for him? Did he get scared? Look at Charles Leno's stance as a tight end. Look at that. They don't have him animated for that. He's wide open. I told him to put his shoulder down.
Why is he not fumbling?
He's a starting tight end.
Trucking an offensive lineman. It's like, yeah, I'm good. He just called for the pass.
I know he did. Whoa, Mitch! we go for these.
All right, here we go. Now it's time for the real best.
Nobody's covering most of my guys. Oh, there it is. I was really nervous about which one you were gonna manual cover, and just.
All I had to do was be there enough for you to hesitate.
Yep, and I did. It's a better defense than it should be. Nice tackle, Quinn. Nice tackle. Nice tackle. It shouldn't work like it does. But it does.
This is a crazy looking play art. Let's do it. Wait. Oh, wait, what?
Do you know what it does?
Okay.
So, do y'all know? Have we talked? No, we haven't on stream. I can't tell you how upset I was when, or what was it? It was when David Blau just popped off against us. I remember just like, I don't even know what to think anymore. David Blau, Jeff Driscoll had played well enough. He had that, like, highlight reel throw against Kyle Fuller, if you remember. But then David Blau comes out on Thanksgiving and throws 2 touchdowns immediately. And Mitch pops off, but it doesn't feel like he's blowing up because David Blau's on the other side also playing well, and you're like, what am I supposed to think now? Hey, now the quarterback situation's fairly even.
Yeah.
According to Madden, unfortunately, probably truer than it should be. I mean,
Blau's a 56 overall.
oh, then no, not at all. Never mind. I'll loan you fools.
Mohamed Sanu. I didn't even know he was on this team.
Yeah. He got cut.
Wait, this is straight up just the Patriots roster.
Yep.
Like the Lions just straight up, it's just we're the Patriots.
I don't feel like Patricia was in the business of Blau blowing up again. Pagano, help me out.
6 yards on the play. So the big play means just like that they'll operate.
Let me
from the red
see.
zone now on first down.
It does sound familiar, ENB. Oh! Hawkinson just roasted Roquan Smith.
TJ Hawkinson.
Real TJ is not quite that good. But then again, I feel like I heard a lot of people on the internet complaining about Madden 21's handling of linebackers. Do you know anything about that?
They're often too OP.
Something about jumping?
Yeah, this team doesn't really have a linebacker to show it with, but I'll kind of try to show it on this next drive here. But basically, linebackers, if they are over 6 foot tall and they have 90 speed and 90 change of direction, they can jump 10 feet in the air.
What?
Yeah, like they can just infinitely jump.
That's got to be great for
And so like
interceptions.
Isaiah Simmons, who is 6'4" with 94 speed, and is Isaiah Simmons. He can like straight up. He can be up here like as a strong safety on the 40 mark, and he can just jump and be at the midfield logo in like 2 seconds.
Block for me.
I mean, it worked. I
Mooney just
he wasn't moving, but he blocked.
he just pieced out in the middle of the play. I mean, it worked.
Like I don't get paid enough for this.
It was a natural pick. He's like, all right, we got the yards. Yeah, man. Somebody after that throw alone would just use that. Okay, there's an emoji case that I still don't really understand, and I don't need it explained to me because I think I kind of get it. But that emoji with the smoke coming out of somebody's nostrils, the first time I saw it, I was like, that's an angry emoji. And it doesn't seem like it. People use it for like, I'm pumped up! And that emoji would just be all over the place after a 65-yard Mitch Trubisky touchdown throw.
I just realized, is Roquan Smith not a superstar?
No.
Why not?
Well,
He's
not
a
an X
superstar in the
factor.
franchise. Why isn't he a superstar here?
Probably roster updates or Madden Magic.
Madden straight up hates the Bears. Like if I remember correctly, Eddie Jackson has 84 speed.
What?
Yeah, like he has the same speed as Khalil Mack.
That's great. And I mean, to be totally fair, Mack is an absolute athletic legend. But, yeah,
Eddie
Madden,
Jackson is an athletic legend.
Madden hates the Bears. Derek, you're right. And Case, you're right. The 79 overall Detroit Lions are just smoking me. And apparently the only person who can make the Bears defense really work is Slim Jim in our chat. And I mean, I need some pointers because I feel like I'm getting cooked out here. But it felt normal in franchise because I traded Hicks and Fuller away, so I knew what I was getting into. But In this, it's like, oh man, oh no, the Lions are coming for me.
It fell incomplete.
Ain, I don't really know why either. Because you're talking about how the media hates the Bears. And I'll tell you one thing that has been kind of funny to watch is it's like Chicago media, in the most part, like if you have figured it out, I try to be negative enough to technically be fair. Because if I'm not negative, I'm not being fair. That's his flex, by the way. If you're wondering, Kyle Fuller just sat down and they called it a flex. I'm trying to pause.
Wow, that was awesome.
Look at this.
I'm watching the replay in the
Fuller's
background.
got one hand on it and just rolls through. Okay.
He just looked like Allen Robinson up there.
Come on, Leno. Shake loose. You got to come down with those, Charles.
Why do offensive linemen have such good route running?
Look at him. He understands the plays. It's like, hey, Charles, you're in as our #1 tight end. And he's like, Coach, I've been going through the playbook just for an opportunity like this. I won't let you down.
Oh, man. Like, see, if I had Isaiah Simmons right there, that was big.
What?
Yeah, because he would just jump through the air to grab it.
That's nuts.
But I have a 71 overall linebacker who has no speed, and so it's kind of impossible to do anything.
Don't be surprised to bring a little pressure on this snap.
Robinson!
I love Madden so much. Okay.
As soon as I saw that ball go up, I was like, actually, that could be worse. And Robinson's like, ah, man, screw this. I don't want this.
All right, this is 63 yards.
Make it.
Nice play by them on defense.
Prater's got that leg for days.
Oh my
The
goodness!
commentators started talking about how it wasn't going to get there way before it ever happened. Baloney. All right, guys, here it is. The big null carry. You knew it was coming.
All right, come on, fullback, let's do it.
It's an automatic touchdown. It takes.
Yeah, you gotta find the read option with the wide receiver screen on it.
The RPO with the wide receiver screen.
Mm-hmm.
It works better than it should. I feel like. I thought it would suck, and then I was like, no, this is actually not awful. Why isn't this awful? Come on, Leno. Oh, and we're playing like head to head. So Carl will be there when we resume the franchise. Yeah, this is the Jeter game for Stafford. Yes, punt safe, man. The defense that works better than it should.
It's so OP. I love it.
Come on, Miller. It went through his hands.
Mooney with the big saving tackle there, though. I'm gonna put Stafford back in.
All right. So
Just final drive
how do
here.
I put Mitch Trubisky in at middle linebacker? Why can't I? Don't tell me I can't. Why can't I do it?
Wish you could.
I feel like Mitch would be not a bad safety. He's more athletic than meets the eye.
Got pretty, yeah.
A lot of people keep wanting to talk about how Mitch is like not athletic, and that's not true. Like,
he's so much fun to watch whenever he runs.
Yeah, he's one of those weird players where I almost wish he could have been some kind of a Taysom Hill style running back thing, but it didn't work. And hey, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, players fizzle out, and some players have success stories after the fact. Like, obviously, I mean this quite sincerely. Like, nobody that plays for the Bears is somebody that I leave and want to fail. Nobody wants Mitch to fail, you know? But at the same time, I can very honestly say that I am going to be very nervous every time Mitch touches the ball, assuming he's not in a Bears uniform, because if he does blow up on another team, now I get mad. So we're sort of in a lose-lose situation both ways. You know what I mean?
He's either going to fail or the Bears are going to fail.
Right. But they can both fail also. That's an option, unfortunately. Come on, get there, Jalen.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh, I was almost caught.
34-20. Oh, but how's his awareness? Who knows? But either way, good stuff there. That was very solid. I've got some major maddening to get through if I'm going to match that kind of play level. Or I play a non-cursed team. That could work too. You never know.
Yeah.
The Bears Madden curse.
We should do a number 1 overall pick battle, the Jets versus the Jags.
Oh, I'd be in. Like, absolutely. At this point, we're hitting the 3.5-hour mark, so that'll be for next week, or whenever you've got more time. But yeah, this was great. Oh, what do we got the highlights? It got darker as the game went on. Oh, the Komet touchdown. Man, this feels like a long time ago. I gotta be honest, all of my sense of time has been really warped this week because I have, after all the freezing cold stuff that happened in Texas that we lived through, it's just been weird, to say the least.
They didn't show my punter throwing a touchdown.
Why didn't they show your punter throwing the touchdown? There's got to be some kind of a highlights thing. But, Derek, if the XFL gets back going and Mitch Trubisky ends up as an XFL icon, it'd be sad in the sense that it's not the NFL, but it would be kind of wild seeing Mitch just... Did Mitch just do the sad look back at the field and walk away? Oh, look at the Bears players. The Bears players can't get off the field. Look at this. They can't get out of the tunnel. Did you see that?
Down in the bottom right.
Oh, no. Madden. All right, so Mitch Trubisky... 64 quarterback rating, but 300 yards. See, now that's the positive we can look at. It's getting better. He threw for 300 yards. Never mind the 45% completion percentage. If he had just had some decent play calls called for him, he would have been fine. And plus, the offensive line didn't block. What was Nagy thinking putting Leno in at tight end? Leno ended up with, let's see, I need the receiving stats.
He had 3 catches.
Charles Leno, 2 catches for 26 yards. So, was it a bad call? You tell me. Putting him in.
Down to the bottom right says view highlights. On that home one where you put the viewing stats, and then there you can watch the replays of plays.
Let's see.
Only the ones with the play button.
And all those drops. Exactly, Derek. The receivers really let him down. All right. Let's see. We got to go back to the first. What was this? Kickoff. This one? Chase Daniel?
No, there should be one. I think it was may have been in the
Chase
second
Daniel
quarter.
with a nice little crossbody throw.
Where I had the punter throw a touchdown.
See, film heads are going to look back and they're going to say, this is where Nagy got the Leno idea. This is where it came from. It was brewing since the first 2-point conversion, and he thought to himself, well, dang, if 65 can score, I can get Leno into the end zone. Let's see. There's got to be... Oh, the fumble. Oh, no. This was so sad.
Madden's actually kind of fun to watch, the replays of, though, because there are some things that Madden actually does super duper well. But then there's some that just does terribly.
Honestly, there are some things that it's that's great. I remember it used to be that if you were running with the ball and you broke from the pocket, there was a way to get your quarterback to stop carrying the ball like a quarterback. And it used to do it automatically. But I don't try to blame everything off of old Madden. Let's see. Punter. Was that in Mitchell Trubisky? Fumble recovered by Desmond Trufant. We have 4 highlights in a row. Matt Stafford, 24-yard pass. Interception by Kyle Fuller. Sack. And then, let's see, 5-yard rush by Tariq Cohen for a touchdown. Trubisky, Stafford. It's Jack Fox pass.
Yeah, there you go.
How is he in the shotgun? Did you put him in?
Oh, yeah, I put him in. I edited him in. He was in there for 3 plays in a row.
He went straight in too. Like, he threw the bubble screen. Who is this? Is this Fuller? Just fans on the tackle, and Marvin Jones is in and celebrating.
Wait, who on earth was on the outside? Amendola just completely blocked no one.
Let me get to the.
Amendola was just like, no, I'm not gonna block today.
Yeah, these are the sorts of things where I'm like, Madden, why? Like, if Amendola, in theory, just runs right up and grabs the guy at the end, Fuller, there's no problem. Instead, Fuller ends up in a one-on-one tackle situation that he has no business being in. Almost like the game just wanted that moment, with Fuller, attacking downhill. And it's like,
exactly.
What were you doing, Danny? What was the point of you being out there?
He went and he turned around in the end zone, as if he's going to go catch to the ball. What? Mm-hmm.
Another one is Roquan on that same exact play is kicking sideways, and I really get the impression that Smith of all people would identify and pass that off to Fuller and pass the Amendola assignment off to Fuller and blast down onto Jones, but who knows? Like you're saying, Ian B, next time we gotta play with a supercharged Tyler Bray on the roster. That actually would be more fun than it should be, but.
I'll make a kind of a meme roster, if you will.
Everybody gets a supercharged player. Charles Leno has to be a 10 maximum if we're doing a meme roster. He just has to be the worst football player possible, and he has to start. So that plus highlight all day Bray could be hilarious. Either way, y'all, it's been an awesome case. Thanks so much for playing. Everybody on here, it's been an awesome 3.5 hours. We definitely went longer than I anticipated, and that is okay. So I hope you guys had fun on a Saturday afternoon. Let me know what you like, what you didn't like. You can hit me up, whether it's Twitter DMs, comments on a YouTube video, chat, or things in the chat right now. Always great hanging out with y'all, talking football. I'll jump back into film pretty much right now, see what I can start cobbling together. And until next time, y'all. What?
Did I miss a donation?
Yes, or you must have. We got a awesome donation from CFH 7421 in the middle of the stream, which was rad, an unbelievable $55. Thank you so much. Donations do help me out, in terms of helping me fund things that I want to throw into other content. The computer that I'm using to stream all this stuff off of came off of original YouTube things, so not just help, or basically the stuff that you give me, do know that it goes straight into the content, which is rad. But either way, I gotta run. I definitely, at this point, it's that 7:30 dinner window, and I've gotta go hit that thing. So until next time, y'all, again, thanks so much for tuning in. I will see y'all soon. Case, thanks so much for playing.